Hi, thank you for being here. Just to turn a few things off. We are talking about how you can shift your thoughts so you can go from being 30% body fat to 20% body fat, and more importantly, to keep that weight off, because there's no shortage of people who have lost weight and put it back on. We've all been there, done that. We all have friends who have lost 10 kilos, put on 12, lost 10, put on 15, who have yo-yoed all throughout their lives. And I personally have lost and kept off 15 kilos and about 16% body fat. So this was inspired by a recent post I put onto Instagram. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you scroll through. It's on the second or third line. It's quite a recent one, where I talk about how everyone wants a 20% body fat body, but is operating with a 32% body fat mindset. And that's cool. Each to their own, no judgment. Your body is unique and special. And again, like, it's not for me to judge. I'm not attached to another person's physique, appearance, body composition. It's none of my business. I help my clients lose weight, recomposition, because that's their goals. And when that goal is set from a healthy place, where a person's self-worth is not attached to those numbers, then I am completely on board in helping that person. Losing weight can allow you to have more energy, can allow you to keep up with children who are growing and keep you on your toes. It can allow you to do amazing things such as hike mountains, go exploring, enjoy the world, put suitcases in overhead compartments, put heavy suitcases on conveyor belts, put them in the back of a taxi, take them out of a taxi, stop being so achy and sore and fatigued and tired all the time. There can be benefits. I'm not here to push a certain number or a certain appearance or a certain physique. Again, it's not for me to judge how another person looks. I'm not here to say that 20% body fat is better than 32%. If we're only using body fat as a marker for health, then arguably, yes, 20% is better if we're talking about females up until the age of 40. But you have to bear in mind, a lot of people stress themselves out so much that in fact they would be healthier being 25% and happier and less stressed than trying to get to 20% just for the sake of getting to 20%, to prove to themselves that they can get to 20%. So when we talk about health, we really have to understand the bigger picture here. And numbers are not the be all and end all. Again, especially if trying to reach a certain number or metric is stressing you out to the point that you're kind of getting diminishing returns on any effort to try and lose another percent body fat, right? And a lot of people don't want to live like that. And again, that's why sometimes we need to have a reality check with ourselves. Do you want to live like a person who's 20%? You probably don't, because that means you're going to have to say no to alcohol a lot more. It means you're going to have to say no to the cheese board a lot more. It means you're going to have to be 85, 90% adherent to your meal plan. You're going to have to eat most of your meals either pre-prepared from a meal prep company or pre-prepared by a helper or made by yourself. And a lot of people don't want to do that, or don't have the bandwidth for that, or don't want to use their spare time to do that. And fair to them. It's not for me to judge. So going into this conversation, it's really, really, really important to me that you understand that, because we can be really quick to say in health and fitness that this is better than this or this is better than that. And we're very quick to forget context and nuance. So understand what your context is, understand what the nuance of your context and situation is, and get a sense of what feels good and feels right for you. Also factoring in how you want to live, because the busier you are, the more children you have, the more you spread yourself, the less bandwidth you are going to have for your health and well-being. So again, if you're already stretched quite thin and you want to lose 5-10% body fat, where is that energy, time, and effort and bandwidth going to come from? You have to ask yourself that. You have to have the real conversation with yourself about where that's going to come from. And if you don't have an answer, then chances are you're just going to stress yourself out more trying to get there. And then is it worth it? Perhaps not. So I really appreciate how well that post performed. I felt inspired to do a live training on it because it seemed to be a really popular post. And I'm going to share some of my observations. So you can read this for yourself if you just go into Instagram, just scroll down. It's a Twitter style post carousel. So we can just scroll through. So everyone wants a 20% body fat body, but is operating with a 32% body fat mindset. Here are 7 shifts that took me to less than 20% body fat. And I'm sharing that so that you can understand what those shifts are. So a person who is 30, now we're talking about females again, the body fat percentage and quote unquote healthy ranges differ between men and women. Typically, women need about 10% more body fat than men, largely for reproductive purposes. So all of this is in reference to the metrics that we suggest for women. If you're a man, then the upper end of the quote unquote healthy range is going to be more like 20%. Okay? So if you're a male who's 20% body fat, or if you're a female who's 30% body fat, chances are you have a bit of a habit of saying, I don't have time to work out or diet. And a person who is 10% less than that will say to themselves, I take fewer sick days and have more energy when I prioritize nutrition and training. So I always find it really interesting when people say that they don't have time to do things, when they spend an awful lot of time on their phone scrolling through social media, when they spend an awful lot amount of time online shopping, when they spend an awful lot of time just not being intentional with their time. In fact, so they have a lot of unintentional time throughout their day where they're being reactive instead of proactive, where they're frantically replying to messages and emails and incoming communication from here, there, and everywhere. And of course, you can't plan anything, let alone a meal plan or meal prep, if you're in a constant state of reacting. So a person who is going to have that leaner physique is more likely than not a person who is able to block off chunks of time during their day and be very intentional with their time. So they're not just meal prepping. They're saying, okay, my plan for this morning is X, Y, and Z. I want to achieve A, B, and C by 10 a.m. today, by lunch today, by 3 p.m. today, by 6 p.m. today. So they're constantly planning and prioritizing and recalibrating. If something comes up, they're able to switch different things in their schedule to make sure everything still gets done. So again, it's being more intentional with time, not just going, oh, here's a message, let me reply. Oh, here's TikTok, let me scroll through TikTok. Here's Instagram, let me look at the next thing that this person posted. It's going, what do I want to get out of how I use my time today? How is that going to better myself? How is that going to better my health? How can I make that of benefit to me? Knowing I only have so much time and I only have so much bandwidth and I only have so much energy, how can I do something effective with that? I personally meal prep. It's typically Friday and Saturday. I will have my meals cooked and I do it all in less than 90 minutes. My meal prep is dead simple. I've finessed the system. I've come up with great formulas and formulations that work, and it lasts me for the whole week. So that's not a lot of time. 1.5 hours out of my whole entire week then buys me back every breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 7 to 10 days. I think that's a pretty good return on those 90 minutes. You don't get a return on the hour of scrolling through social media. You don't get a return on those 4 hours on a Friday night where you're just drinking alcohol and eating cheese boards with your friends. Don't get me wrong, that might be nice, it might be fun, it might be enjoyable, and that might be good for your social health. But what do you get out of that in terms of a return? Is that giving you a return on your physical health? Is that giving you a return on your mental health? We know alcohol is a depressant. As a drug, it's a depressant. So that's not good. It interferes with your sleep. You're going to give yourself social jet lag because your body can only adjust 2 hours at most every 24 hours, meaning if you go to bed more than 2 hours later than your normal bedtime, any given day of the week, you are giving yourself social jet lag. So if you go to bed 4, 5, 6 hours later than your normal bedtime, you are then going to take at least 3, if not 6 days to get back into your normal sleep routine and sleep cycle and circadian rhythms. By which point it's almost Friday night, Saturday night again, and you're about to do it all over again and fuck up your circadian rhythms and interfere with your Zeitgeber systems and put yourself on the back burner and put your health on the back burner, put your nutrition on the back burner, just so you can have fun with your friends. You know, again, it just comes back to being intentional and being deliberate. And I think a lot of people go out on the weekends not to have fun per se, but to escape their 9 to 5. Instead of trying to escape your 9 to 5, maybe you should just get a different job. And I know it sounds really easy to say that, just get another job. Yeah, like it's so simple. I too am on an EP here. I too have to think about visas. I also have to think about what I'm going to do every 2 years when my visa runs out. It's easy to say, but it's really important I point out these vicious cycles and patterns of behavior to people, because otherwise people are never going to get it. Okay? If you're in a constant state of escaping, kind of just wasting your life. Okay, you're just existing. You're not living. You're just existing. And in which case, you know what? Like, you can fuck right off. Because the chances of being born a human are 400 trillion, T, with a T, trillion to 1. So, are you really honoring the privilege of being alive if you're in a constant state of escaping your 9 to 5? I would say no. So that's my biggest takeaway there, and the biggest thing I want to highlight there is people who are leaner and able to keep weight off and keep fat off are more intentional with their time. Are they spending 4 hours every Friday night, 6 hours, 8 hours every Friday night, every Saturday night, out with friends, escaping their 9 to 5, and drinking for the sake of it, eating food in front of them because, like, fuck it, FOMO? Or are they putting 90 minutes in their schedule each week to either order food from a meal prep service, to cook their own food, to go through recipes so they can ask their helper to create, to grocery shop? Again, choose your battles, right? Choose your battles. And the body does really well when it has consistency. The body does not do so well when you treat your body well for 5 days of the week and then you abuse the hell out of it for like 2. Your body is not going to change very quickly. If you're treating it well, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, up until Friday evening, Friday and then Saturday, you kind of abuse it. Even Sunday, maybe you abuse it, you have a Sunday sesh. Of course, it's going to be slow because then you're only making progress, or you're only being consistent for 4 or 5 days of the week. 4 or 5 days of the week is not this, like, barely more than half. Okay, again, this is just one of my observations. So point number 1, prioritize what's important to you, pick your battles, be deliberate with your time. People who are leaner than you make time to prioritize their health because they take fewer sick days when they do that. They enjoy feeling better, they enjoy having more energy, they enjoy being in a nice cycle of good sleep. And that allows you to shift fat a lot faster than any quote unquote detox tea or fad diet. Point number 2. So a person who is 32% body fat, or if you're a male, 22% body fat or above, is focused on the number on the scales and loses their shit the moment they see that they've gained weight. So focused on the outcome, focused on the number and just the number. A person who is 10% less body fat measures consistency. And consistency when it comes to patterns of behavior. So we're talking about how many steps you get each day, how much water you drink each day on average, how much time you spend being active. So not just walking around, but how much time do you actually spend deliberately elevating your heart rate each day? Something such as sleep, heart rate variability, girth measurements, so using a tape measure, measuring your neck, measuring your waist, measuring your hips, measuring your arms and thighs, above the chest, below the chest. And photos, because photos, photos are pretty good. They're a very useful indication of how the body is appearing differently when we start to see change. So what I'm tapping into here is the fact that a person who is really in this for the long run, who really wants to create lifestyle change, is focusing on changing their behaviors and building healthy habits. Because we can't lose the 10th kilogram before we've lost the first. We can't lose the first kilogram before we've lost 500 grams. How do we do that? It's not by magic. It's not by eating one salad once. It's not by getting 1.5 grams of protein per body weight, per kilo of body weight per day once. It's not because you drank 3 liters of water one day once. It's because you're working on a few different things from a few different angles. And what I like to start with the people I work with is focus on a nutrition habit, whether it's drinking more water, eating more veg, getting more protein. That's usually where I start, is protein. So again, trying to get 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of what you weigh every single day. As an example, if you weigh 60 kilograms, what that looks like is 90 grams of protein a day. Not 90 grams of chicken breast, because that's about 27 grams of actual protein, but 90 actual grams of protein per day. That's usually where I start with people when it comes to nutrition, because most people want to build strength and lose body fat, and that's going to make the biggest, hands down, biggest difference when it comes to how you eat. Because protein is so satiating. When you fill up on protein, you have less of an appetite for the other things. You have less room in your diet for the fast food, for the sweets, for the high fat fried food. You just don't feel like it because you're full. And why are you full? Because you filled up on protein, and protein is very satiating. It goes further down the digestive tract before it gets broken up. That's part of the reason why it's so satiating. So I suggest people have a nutrition related goal first. I then suggest people have a movement / activity related goal. What does that look like? Really depends. For most people who have corporate jobs, office jobs, they sit a lot. My usual go-to goal for them when it comes to activity and movement is increasing their step count. If they can't increase their step count, then I look to see that they're increasing time spent standing. The Apple Watch is great for that because it gives you total amount of time standing on your feet, and it will even prompt you to stand if you've been seated for too long. Thankfully, my watch has only told me that twice, and one time I was at the dentist, so I'm going to say that's not very fair. I'm sure some of the other activity monitors do the same thing, where they prompt you to stand, they're aware of when you've been seated, and I found that to be really helpful. So if it's not so practical for you to be walking more often, and if you're busy in back-to-back meetings all day, it may not be so feasible to get steps in. You might be able to go for a walk before work or a walk after, maybe a mid-time meeting where you walk with a colleague. Maybe just, put your hat on, go for a walk outside and have like a quick little chit chat. But outside of that, try and be on your feet more. So on average, I stand for 17 hours a day. And my step count, honestly, is not always 10,000. I'm probably a lot closer to 8.5 on average. So when it comes to movement, go-to goals would either be to get more steps. Now, if you have a corporate job, you're probably not even getting 3,500 steps a day, okay? And that's hardly anything. That's barely a kilometer. I think 2,000 steps, maybe 1,500, 2,000 steps for me is about a kilometer. So that would barely be 2 kilometers, yeah? My goal is usually to increase by 25%, and that's usually an 8 to 12 week goal. So again, currently, if you're getting 3,500 steps, then I'm going to look to see you get closer to 5,000 in the next 8 weeks, if not before then. And then we increase by 25% again and 25% again. And we look to get to a number that we're able to sustain on a regular basis, where you're hitting that number 5 times a week, okay? Maybe weekends are a little bit different. Maybe weekends are easier. You might go for a walk up Mount Faber or Bicotima or McRitchie. Perhaps you go for a longer walk on weekends. I know a lot of people do that. Some people go for cycles on the weekend. They ride their bikes. So that's where I look to get to. And again, If steps is not so feasible, then I want you to be standing, because on average your heart rate is working at 20 beats per minute faster when you're standing versus seated. So if my resting heart rate is 50, let's say, and if I'm standing, then my heart rate's going to go to about 75. Okay. So the benefit of that is you're challenging your heart. Your heart is a muscle, it needs to be worked. And that's how we keep muscles working well, is by working them. It's a little bit of a catch-22 situation there. So from there, I usually go to a third goal, which is going to be mindset headspace related. That could look like 15 minutes of journaling each day. It could look like using the Reflect app on the Apple Watch. It could be the breathing app on the Apple Watch. It could be using a YouTube video or an app on your phone, which you can breathe in time to. I like Tide, Tide. I have that app on my phone. I think it's great. It has different meditations. You can do breath work with it. You can listen to relaxing sounds. I sometimes listen to it on the way home from work. I find it to be really, really, really helpful, but it can look different for different people. So first goal is going to be nutrition related, and usually I go to protein for that, 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram body weight per day, every single day, irrespective of whether you train or not, does not matter. The second goal is going to be movement related for most people, increasing your step count or amount of time spent on your feet standing. And that's also going to benefit your back. If you have a lower back issue and your back is chronically tight, sore, stiff shoulders, stiff neck, being on your feet just allows you to move a little bit more freely and express with your arms a little bit more. So your arms are not just going to be fixed in that stuck position where your shoulders are under your ears and your hands are like just lurking over the keyboard and your jaw is really clenched tight and you've stopped breathing. You know the position. If you're hearing me on the podcast, you know the position. So that's what I love about being able to stand and move around a lot more. And the third goal is going to be related to headspace. So again, meditation, journaling, breathing, connecting with your own thoughts, connecting with your internal dialogue, challenging your internal dialogue, asking yourself what the origin of that belief system is. All that stuff. We need to do that a lot more. People who are leaner than you, who are able to keep that body fat off, have a better understanding of their thoughts and the origin of those thoughts and how to use those thoughts to their advantage. In most cases, okay? Now, just like with everything, there are healthy versions of 32% body fat. There are unhealthy versions of 20% body fat. There are healthy versions of 15% body fat, yes, for females too, and unhealthy versions of 15% body fat. It's all context, it's all nuance, it's all a self-awareness game. So if you have no self-awareness, it's going to be pretty hard to help you. What can I say? It's going to be really hard to lose weight and keep it off if you're not aware of your thoughts and your self-sabotaging cycles of behavior. It's going to be really challenging. Moving on to the next slide. So someone who is 32% body fat, or if you're a male, 22% body fat, is fluctuates between an all or nothing approach. They fluctuate between extremes, constantly riddled with shiny object syndrome, always looking for the next in vogue diet to follow. I think we're still currently on keto, but I just can't wait for the next thing to come out. Lol jokes. And they're only able to commit themselves to anything for 30 days, maybe 60 at a stretch, but that's kind of it. Whereas a person who is 10% less body fat, so 20% if you're a female, or closer to 10% if you're a male, or under, is consistently consistent in eating foods that they enjoy and exercising in a sustainable way. This is where people are just completely missing it. No one is looking for a way to incorporate foods they like into the way that they eat. We, for whatever reason, think we need to deprive ourselves in order to eat well and to lose weight. You don't need to deprive yourself, okay? A lot of you will know I love dark chocolate. I have 2 squares of dark chocolate every single day. And that for me feels like a good amount. I enjoy it. I savor it. I'm present in that moment. And like I'm still pretty lean. I'm still achieving my fitness goals. I'm still quote unquote nutritionally on point with everything else. I enjoy my dark chocolate. I enjoy my chicken. I enjoy my pasta. I have carbs. You should be eating carbs if you want to build strength. I'm not afraid of carbs. I don't have phobias of different food groups or food types. And I exercise in a way that feels good for me. Okay. We have a tendency to think that this should not be enjoyable and that this should feel hard and punishing. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to have to exert yourself. It's it's not easy to get to a point where you can back squat your own body weight and deadlift your body weight and bench press your body weight and so on and so forth. It's not easy, but there should be elements of it being fun throughout that journey of getting there. There should be moments where you're like, huh, that's cool that I did that. I like that I got to see myself do that today. Or, I like that I eyeballed the chicken breast that I was about to eat and then I weighed it. And when I eyeballed it, I weighed, it looked like 90 grams. And when I weighed it, it was 95 grams. Like it's kind of fun to see yourself build those skills. When you turn up to the gym and you really don't feel like it because you've had a stressful morning and your children have been sick and you've got a report due and it's raining and you forgot your umbrella, but you still turned up to training and you still did something. There's going to be things to overcome, absolutely. It's unavoidable. But at the same time, it shouldn't always feel like strenuous, arduous, punishing work where you're having to force yourself to do everything and force yourself to avoid things you enjoy. It should not be an opportunity to deprive yourself, is what I'm trying to say. At least not long term. Now, initially, you may need to cut back on some things. You might need to refine your process. You might need to gradually reintroduce different foods. The journey is different for everyone. But again, you're not going to sustain anything that feels super boring, strenuous, unfun, and stressful, especially if that's how you always feel towards it. Okay. There are ways to eat in a healthy, sustainable way where you get to eat foods that you like. It's true. I mean, if you haven't discovered that yet, you haven't worked with the right person. And the same when it comes to movement. So that's something worth factoring in. When you enjoy something, you're more inclined to do it. If you don't enjoy it, the chance of you sticking to it are pretty damn small. So enjoyment is really key. Enjoying the process, reflecting on how far you've come, working with a coach who can guide you along the way, who can point out things that you've achieved and remind you of the progress that you're creating and seeing, remind you of what you're working towards. Have conversations about goals, what you're looking to lift by the end of the year. I'm having conversations with my clients right now about what weights I think they'll be able to lift by the end of the year, about what their body composition will be towards the end of the year, how we get them on track, how we keep them on track, how we stay there. When you buy into the process, everything else falls into place. But if you're just going to try the next Gwyneth Paltrow diet, then good luck to you. Nothing is going to stick, nothing's going to change. Because again, that is not coming from a place of being connected to you. It's not factoring what you enjoy. It's you trying to copy someone else or what Vogue magazine says you should eat, which is, again, it's not individualized enough to you and your circumstances and what you need in terms of nourishment and movement. Someone going on to the next slide. So a person who is a female who is 32% body fat, or if you're a male, if you're closer to 22% body fat, is easily influenced by friends, family, and colleagues in trying to in choosing foods and approaches to exercise that please them. So making choices based on what those people feel comfortable with. How many times have you been to a dinner party or a work event or even going home for Christmas? I mean, that's just something true for me. When you go home for Christmas and you end up eating food that's in front of you because it's socially acceptable to eat that food, or you end up drinking in volumes that are socially acceptable, or you drink just because everybody else is drinking. This is so common. And the truth is, a person who is leaner than you, a person who is 10% less body fat, so a female who's 20% or less, a male who's 10% or less body fat, the way they make food and fitness decisions is based on their intrinsic desire and never justifying their choices to those around them. So I don't drink alcohol. That's not something I have to explain to you. And that is true. That's not just an example, that's true. I do not drink alcohol. I am wondering when the Australian government will ask me for my passport back, because every other person in Australia is an alcoholic. But, they've let me keep it for now, which is nice. I come across this a lot where people have social events and they're like, Laura, how do I eat? I'm like, well, how do you want to eat? A lot of people can't answer that for you. Because the moment a person eats something that's a little higher in fat or a little more sweet, a little higher in sugar, they feel guilty. Then they go to the opposite end of the spectrum and they start to punish themselves by only eating lettuce leaves for a week and completely depriving themselves, which goes back to my previous point of people operating in all or nothing extremes. And this is why people don't create consistency, and without consistency you can't get anywhere, you can't make progress. So when you connect with yourself, when you understand your goals, why you're trying to achieve them and why they're important to you, and you're connected with how you need to eat and how you need to exercise and how you need to think in order to get there, then the rest just falls into place. You have to have a lot of not just self-belief, but conviction and a lot of connection with yourself in order to do that. If you're very heavily swayed by the opinions of others, it's probably because you don't have much of an opinion about yourself. That's just what I've observed. If you don't have much of an opinion about yourself, then you'll seek external validation. Sometimes the way that we get external validation is by making other people happy, by eating foods that they're eating, and by drinking things that they're drinking the way that they're drinking, as in like copious amounts, and even to the point of passing out sometimes. My point being, you can't get leaner if you're always going to eat and drink the way that other people want you to, just to make them happy. At the end of the day, there's always going to be a reason for a person not to like you, and you have to be okay with that. You are not here to please people. You are here to be the best version of you. You cannot be the best version of you if you're not being you, because you're being a person that pleases other people. I mean, that just makes sense, right? So if you want to lose body fat and keep it off, you have to be able to go to dinner parties, lunches, networking events, go home for Christmas, go home for Thanksgiving, whatever the occasion may be, and eat in a way and drink in a way that is aligned with your goals. And sometimes that means saying no to foods and drinks, knowing that people are not going to be okay with it. You have to be okay with other people not being okay with it. You have to build up the capacity to sit in that discomfort, knowing that other people are not okay with the fact that you're not drinking, and yet continue to not drink. That is the only way to move forward if you're a person of that nature. I have been told that I'm boring because I don't drink. My own mother has told me that I'm boring because I don't drink. Guess what? That's her problem. And I'm cool with that. She can think what she wants. I have people who I'm sure think I'm boring because I don't eat like them. I do not want to share a slice of cake with my mother when she's in town. She would love to share a slice of cake with me. I have no fucking interest in sharing a slice of cake with her. That's just the difference between us. And that is out of alignment with me and my goals. If it were my birthday, it might be different. If it were her birthday, it might be different. But in general, that's just not me. So I am very okay with telling her that. But most people are not. At the end of the day, it's not your job to make someone else feel comfortable with you. If another person does not feel comfortable with you, chances are that's a them problem. Especially when it comes down to how you drink and you eat. That is a personal choice that should come from you and should be aligned with your goals and where you're taking your health and fitness. You don't owe anyone an explanation, okay? Moving on to the next slide. A person who is 32% body fat, or if you're a male who is 22% body fat, is attached to the outcome of every workout and uses exercise as a form of punishment. Yeah, I can relate to this one just a little bit. Whereas a person who is 20% body fat, or a male who is closer to 10% body fat, is going to enjoy the journey of training and use it as a celebration of what the body can achieve. I just want to come back to this for 2 seconds. We've just had someone comment. So basically, no drinks for the gains, referring to the previous post. Look, one of the problems with alcohol when it comes to trying to create muscle and get leaner, it's not just the fact that it's empty calories. Yes, alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Fat is 9, carbs are 4, protein is 4. It's not just that, it's the fact that it interferes with how the body metabolizes foods, because the body labels alcohol as a poison. Even if you have a really quote unquote healthy meal and you might have a steak and vegetables, and that can be very high protein, high iron, high in micronutrients, meaning vitamins and minerals, that could be a really great meal. But if you have that with alcohol, your body then goes putting everything on high alert. It puts on the siren, the alarms, and sends its signal going, OMG, poison, get the poison out. And that makes it really hard for your body to do anything useful with the vitamins and minerals you get from the food that you had in conjunction with that meal. Typically, too, we don't make the best food choices when we have alcohol. You know, we've all seen the kebab shops open at 3 a.m., the pizza slice, the New York slice stores open at 2 o'clock in the morning. People generally don't make good food choices, again, because they're just not present. They're not present, and typically people seek out fattier food because it lines the stomach, it feels a little bit better when you're starting to get hungover or drunk. So we just don't make great food choices. But more importantly, it interferes with how you metabolize food. You don't get the most out of your food when you combine it with alcohol, again, because the body goes, poison, get out. And then if anything remains thereafter, then it will do something with all those micronutrients, macro and micronutrients. So macros meaning carbs, protein, fat, micros meaning vitamins and minerals. But it really, really interferes with how the body metabolizes. Two, then it interferes with sleep. Now, if sleep is off, if sleep is compromised, you're going to have issues with your hunger and satiety hormones, leptin and ghrelin. That's going to negatively impact your food choices. Then if you go to bed 4 hours later than usual, 6 hours later than usual, 8 hours later than usual, you're going to give yourself social jet lag, which means it's going to take you 4, 5, 6 days to get back into a regular circadian rhythm of sorts. So then, of course, your leptin and ghrelin is going to be off for about 4, 5, 6 more days because you've given yourself 4, 5, 6 hours worth of social jet lag to overcome. The domino effect is quite profound, people don't realize. So by which point it's now Friday again, and you've just gotten back into a routine of sleeping, and you've just gotten back into a routine of hunger and satiety being where it should be, and you're going to go fuck it all up again by having more drinks tonight and staying out late tonight and eating high-fat food tonight. You know, it's just not much of an approach to get you anywhere. It's definitely the hard way to go about losing weight, I'll tell you that much. So just got another question. May I just whack the extra food and then use it as fuel for the next training session? Yeah, I don't know if I'd be doing that. Look, if you quote unquote fuck up your diet, just go back to how you normally eat. I would not deprive yourself. The body will even out its what's the word? I'm having a brain fog moment. But your body will recalibrate essentially. The output will eventually get to a point where it matches the input in terms of calories in versus calories out, and it's pretty hard to out train a bad diet. So if you're consuming an extra 1,000 calories on a Friday night, you're not going to burn 1,000 calories in your workout. You might burn 400. So it's all well and good to say, oh yeah, it's fuel for the next session. Yeah, okay, to an extent, yeah, but again, if you're consuming an extra 1,000 calories of food, of poor food choices, and alcohol intake, that's only going to take you so far. Because again, if you burn 400 calories in your workout, that's still a 600 calorie surplus. It's just better to not live in such extremes. It's just better to not, again, try and get rid of the 9 to 5 and escape the 9 to 5 every other week. It's better to just live in alignment with your health and fitness goals. If you want to get leaner and stronger, you can't be going out every Friday night, every Saturday night, giving yourself social jet lag, consuming thousands more calories than necessary, unless you want to take a really long time to get there. If you're like, I'll get 10 kilos off, I'll lose 10 kilos in the next 4 years, cool. Or I'll lose 10 kilos in the next 10 years, that's 1 kilo a year, that's what, 800 grams a month, cool. That's up to you. I just think we don't need to give ourselves more permission to live in extremes. You know, there's enough of this. Oh, I'll just deal with it tomorrow. I'll just add that to my next training session. That's just not you being responsible, is it? That's just you avoiding responsibility and justifying you treating your body like a trash can. And that's not very nice, especially if you want to lose weight, especially if you want to lose body fat. Treating your body like a trash can is the very, very, very slow way to go about it. So that's what I would say there. Okay, so going back to being attached to the outcome of every workout. So when you enjoy the journey and when you enjoy the process, it doesn't matter so much in the micro if it was a quote unquote good workout or if it was a quote unquote bad workout. Because at the end of the day, if you're in this for the long run, if you're in this because you want to create lifestyle change, then every single workout is valuable. Every single workout is going to help you be a better version of yourself today, into the future, 2 decades from now, 3 decades from now, 4 decades from now, and beyond. And that's what the difference is when we talk about a person who is 32% body fat versus 20, or a male who's 20 versus a male who's 10, is when you're attached to the outcome of every single workout, you're inviting more judgment, you're inviting more criticism, and you're inviting more room to be an asshole towards yourself, essentially. And no one needs help doing that. And this is the biggest difference. When you're accepting that it's a journey and you're accepting it's a process, if it's not the best workout, it's not the end of the world, because you're not only performing for today, you are, again, compounding the interest of every single workout so that the future version of you can be even stronger, even healthier, even fitter and faster, keep up with the grandchildren, etc., etc. So I hope that makes sense to you. And then relying on motivation versus having delayed gratification. So a person who's 32% body fat, or a male who's 22 versus a female who's 20% body fat, or a male who's 10, relies on motivation and feeling like doing something in order to do it. Whereas a person who is leaner doesn't need to be motivated, because they know that in that moment, their feelings don't really matter. Now, your emotions matter. Your emotions are valid. Yes. But if you're doing this to create long-term change because you want the 80-year-old version of you to benefit from this, you want to be 120 years old and a fucking badass, then it's not so important to feel like eating clean or to feel like doing a workout. Like, boo fucking who? If you want results, you need to turn the fuck up, whether you like it or not. So a person who's lean can have feelings of, oh, I don't feel like it, I'm a bit tired today, oh, it's been a stressful day, and they can still turn up. A person who's 32% body fat goes, oh, it's raining outside, I don't feel like getting wet, so I'm not going to turn up. Do you see the difference? So can you have those emotions and still turn up and still be committed? Or do you have those emotions and use it as a reason to not get somewhere with your health and fitness? That's a big difference there. And tying into that, a person who is on the higher end of the body fat percentage range only has goals for the next 30 days, whereas tying back to delayed gratification, a leaner version of that person has goals decades from now. So I want to wake up at 40 and feel fucking amazing. To feel strong, to feel like a badass, to feel inconquerable, unstoppable, unfuckwithable. I want to wake up at 80 and be able to unscrew jars of peanut butter without help, because if I can't unscrew a jar of peanut butter, please put me out of my misery. I want to wake up at 120 and be like, made it to 120. Yes, where is my letter from whoever the king or queen may be at the time? When you have that long-term vision, you stand the chance of getting somewhere, you stand the chance of making progress. When you only want to lose 5 kilos now because you can't sit in that discomfort of being overweight now, then you can only expect to see that change very temporarily. It takes time to create behavioral change. It takes a really long time. So you have to get good at sitting in discomfort and being patient and putting together those small action steps, knowing that they're going to compound so that you can actually get somewhere and stay there, not just be extreme, deprive yourself, drop 5 kilos, and wake up 3 months later 8 kilos heavier. That doesn't sound like much fun. And it's undue stress to your body too. Your body does well with predictability, how many calories you're going to get, how much protein you're going to get, when you're having carbs. Are you having carbs before training? Are you drinking 4 liters of water a day? Are you getting, is your leptin and ghrelin in a good position because you're sleeping well? The body can lose weight and fat a lot faster when you treat it well, weirdly, and when you're consistent in treating it well. Who knew? So you can't be super unpredictable with your body and only being quote unquote on plan Monday to Thursday, treating it like a temple, and then treating your body like a trash can Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and wonder why you can't lose weight. Why you can't lose weight? Why you only treat your body well 4 days of the week? 4 days of the week is not a lot of time. Again, that's barely more than half of the days in the week that you're actually treating your body well. No, you're gonna have to treat your body well for like 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 24 weeks, and get in a routine of like just making it your norm. Honestly, that's what it takes. So if you're not seeing results, maybe ask yourself, am I being an asshole towards myself 3 days of the week, 4 days of the week, 5 days of the week? Or am I giving my body what it needs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, being maybe a little bit reckless on Sunday, but I'm reining it back in and I'm learning to build healthier habits. I hope there were some powerful takeaways. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoyed this video, please leave your biggest takeaways below. If you have any questions, let me know. I am putting together the high performance game plan scorecard. So if you want a copy of the scorecard, comment access and I'll make sure that you get a copy sent straight to you. I appreciate you for watching. And if you want the link to this, because this will become a podcast, then let me know as well. And I'll make sure that you get the direct link to the full episode so that you can take notes and run through it again. So again, I appreciate you. Stay dry if you're in Singapore. And I look forward to seeing you in the next training.
Recording in progress.
Hi, Queen. Hi, Queen. Hi, Chick. It's just connecting to audio. I should be able to hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Hi. Yes, I can hear
Hi.
you loud and clear.
How are
How
you?
are you?
Good. Happy
Good. Just a
Eid.
little tired. It was a long day yesterday.
Oh my gosh, and it's so early there.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, Queen. It is super rainy here. It's like bucketing down. It's full rain season. How is it where
Wow,
you
we're
are?
like in we're
Winter.
like in peak winter. Yeah,
No
this is the
way.
gown.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like 3 in the morning here. Hey, it gets like really cold, like really, really cold.
OMG.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Do you know when I see my mom, because it's winter back home now as well, when I FaceTime her and she's wearing a scarf, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, Laura, it's winter. It's 20 degrees.
Yeah, it's really, really, really cold.
OMG. Do you like cold or do you prefer the heat?
I used to like winter, but
Yeah.
I think the global warming just messed what winter used to be. This is not winter. This is like the
Antarctica?
start of snowing.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's getting insane. It's really
OMG.
cold. So we share the border with South Africa. So I
Okay.
don't know if you're familiar with Cape Town
Mm-hmm.
in South Africa.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so they snows. So because we share the border, and then there's another little town, not another little country called Lesotho.
Mm-hmm.
So they snow. It snows in winter. All that wind and whatever just passes on over to Botswana.
Oh.
So we get cold fronts, and then it just worsens. It's like super cold, and then like super windy, and you just keep packing on the layers. It gets a bit hectic, yeah. But
Oh
anyways,
my
how's the rain there?
gosh.
You enjoying it?
You know, it's nice because it becomes maybe like 1.5 to 2 degrees cooler, and then the humidity builds, so it goes from 90% to like 100, and then it's like boiling hot, and then it's just like same. Tomorrow will be the same. The next day will be the same. It's like this June, July, and I found we storm more in the middle of the year. There's more storms, but the end of the year is just rain. It like last year, it was again I think global warming. August, September, October, November, December, 5 months, even January, it just rained like almost every day. So it gets like a little cooler. You're like, oh, it's a bit chilly. But no, it's very short lived because then with the rain, the humidity builds, and then you can tell because your hair is just sticking up on end, and you feel like, it from the Adams family.
Yeah,
But
true.
it snows there. That must be freezing.
So not necessarily where I stay in the country. It
Mm-hmm.
snows in South Africa, so we
Mm.
share a border with South Africa.
And
So
then with the
I'm based in
winds.
Botswana,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But I've never experienced snow. That's the one thing I'd really like to experience once in my life.
So fun. It's so
Yeah,
cool. I mean, just it's such a different experience, especially if you didn't grow up with it. Like I definitely did not grow up with it. So to hold it and throw it up in the air, you're like, whoa, it's so magical. Like, what is
right.
this?
Out loud. Yeah, that is something I'd love to experience.
Oh my gosh, one day you'll have to. You'll have to. OMG,
I saw
Jake.
you popped up a live on Instagram.
Yes, just finished. That was a good one. The
Yeah.
that was based on the post I posted the other day about the differences between, in terms of the mind shift between 32% body fat and 20% body fat. Because let's face it, like everyone wants to be 20%, but everyone's stuck with the 32% mindset. I'm like, girl, you can't keep thinking those thoughts and expect different outcomes.
Oh, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
Is that what you notice with your clients? Like, what are their biggest goals?
What is one of their biggest goals?
Yeah, I mean, what do they come to you for? What are their primary goals?
So I've noticed that I'm working with a lot of moms.
Okay.
So it's more like they're stuck in a cycle of coming from a history of like I've been dieting and I've tried this and I've tried that, and because I've eaten a certain way for so very long, so I'm used to only eating low carb. Otherwise, my gut gets affected, and then
Oh.
I can't digest the food, and I'd be like, like, but how do you feel if I tell you to maybe slightly increase your calories just so to adjust your metabolism because you've been eating like this for so long? I promise you, Laura, it's not telling them to eat the worst thing or
Really?
putting them through something that they're so scared. There's a lot of anxiety around it. I wouldn't like to say particularly in this part of the world, but I think it's just globally with anyone starting on a fitness journey. For all they've ever known is just cutting.
Yes.
But you've got some to always been under eating, and they feel like they need to under eat even further to reach the goals. So it's just, again, just what you said, the mindset shift. I really try to empower the woman through my posts, through when I train with them, because I do a lot of one-on-ones.
Okay.
Educate them. And I'm not going to give you an in-the-box meal plan. I will to already eating, and I will give you switches from there so that you can live your life and eat on your terms, but very consciously and mindfully.
Yes.
Because, like, that's the difference between buying a meal plan from someone on the internet and having an actual coach guiding you through it. You can't eat avocado and toast and 2 boiled eggs for the rest of your life. You're still mom.
Yes.
You're going to be a part of social events. It's just how you tackle your life around it. One day's not going to mess up, and one day's not going to make all the difference.
100%.
It's just what you over consistently daily. But I promise you, it's like speaking to a wall sometimes. I'm not joking.
Yes.
And it saddens me. I can have the patience, but it just saddens me that perhaps I don't have the right words constructed into a proper sentence that I can reach them and help them understand. Like I'm dealing with this client, just an example, not to go very far off, but she got what do they call it, a mini gastric bypass.
Okay, wow.
So in this situation, what she got done was she actually had her stomach tied to be smaller. So they cut her tummy. So I asked her, can I ask you a very personal question? So I said, why did you do this? So she was very much overweight. So she said, look, it was either I did this or I went onto the injections for insulin because she's diabetic.
Right.
So it was a matter of necessity, and she took the decision that would help her change now. She needed to lose the weight now. So she did it. She went to India. She did it. She came back, and I promise you, after the op, she's lost a lot of weight. And you know what happens when you come from super like overweight to like immediate tiny? You're left with a lot of extra skin.
Totally.
So she's got obviously her abdomen. She's a mom, so she's got a lot of extra skin, and because she was very overweight, and now she's like, Sadia, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? I'm like, look, tell you the honest truth, like you lost too much weight too fast. You didn't allow your body to adjust as you came down. But I said, you're not always lost. You just have to focus on strength training. I'm not even, and she, so this doctor that treated her was like, you can only consume 500 calories a day. This was post-op, and up till now, she's like, I think, 6 months post-op? She's like, you can only consume 500 calories a day. You're not allowed to have lots of carbs. You're not allowed to have X and Y and Z. And she's very, how can I say, she's very clumsy. She's always popping her knee, or she's hurting her shoulder. Movement is so hard, and she's very heavy on her upper body. She was always like, I need to double bra myself. I need to put a waist belt on. Like, I need to secure myself, especially when it comes to like social events where I need to dress up. She's like, yes, I've lost the weight, but I don't like the way I look. So then I'm like, look, and this is when I explained to her that it's not you, it's just the process of how you've chosen to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you needed it to be done immediately. But I said, all is lost. Just give your body grace and know that you, in that moment, you did what you needed to do because your health was at risk.
Yeah.
But just focus on your strength training, and she has introduced yoga because she says that her bones and everything are just so fragile. She's like She's like a like a crash, like just a crash waiting to happen.
Oh my
She's
god.
merely holding together by the
Mm,
she's so fragile.
mm,
She's so fragile.
mm.
And I mean, you're a doctor, you can see she's got conditions. I swear you meet all kinds of just to make a quick buck. Hey, he's like, I'll even give you a discount for the gastric bypass. That's somebody.
Oh my gosh.
But
Well,
yeah, so that's what I try to do. I try to
mm,
educate my
mm,
clients just really when it comes to lifestyle changes and nutrition.
mm.
They seriously expect you to probably drive to their houses and treat them and maybe test your kidneys and your
Mm.
so that I can live through that.
No, of course.
And we all work together. Because at the end of the day, see, the client is not the client.
Of course.
But that's what I show up for your trainings. I educate you during the
Mm.
training. We even ask the teacher by WhatsApp, okay, it's so and so. I'm like, I think I need to change my strategy where
Mm.
on this with the nutrition part or the
Mm.
habits part.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I feel like I want to get more educated.
Mm. 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 I feel you. I already see like a lot of potential in terms of a few different strategies you could take, right? Like you could very easily have a new offer which included all of that. So what I would look to do is not just now, it needs some brainstorming and it needs some solidifying and we need to like beta test it. But what we can do is we can design uh we could call it like a VIP service or like a high performance service, something that's like a tier above what you do for people who want to accelerate their results. You could even call it like the Accelerate program, right? We could come up with a name. The name is kind of irrelevant for now. But essentially, something that's more 360-degree transformation, which encapsulates the nutrition, which encapsulates the mindset component. And a big thing that we want to identify is people who are going to training and they just want to tick the box of having done something for themselves, and that's them, and that's cool. And what we're going to do is by having a new program, we're going to build on that awareness and give them a fork in the road and say, what you're doing now has got you to where you are now. If you want bigger, better, different results, different outcome, I have a new program which can help you with that. So it's going to invite people to step up. It's going to be an invitation for them to do more for themselves. And it's going to be a bigger investment because when people invest, they pay attention. People get results when they invest with their finances and when they invest with their time. If they're not doing that, they just want to tick the box of having done something for themselves and call it a day, and that's fine. And you may graduate beyond holding their hand. Do you know? If we get you enough clients in this high performance program, you may not want to work with these people anymore because you might be like, do you know what? I don't get so much out of working with you. I'm not so fulfilled. So I'm going to refer you to someone else and we're going to move. We're just going to, we're just going to move on from each other. Of course, we can phrase it differently, but if serving that client is not fulfilling you because you feel like you're bringing a lot to the table and not a lot is being reciprocated, then over time it's obviously just going to be very, very draining, and you're not going to be bringing your best because they're not even listening to your best. They're not paying attention to your best because chances are they don't actually want help. They want their suffering to be validated. And this is a big component to creating change of any kind. Do you want to create change, or do you just want to have someone listen to your suffering, validate your feelings, to hear you out? And look, both is fine, but neither gets you anywhere without action, right?
Yes.
So you will have a great client who's motivated, who's going to do everything you suggest. And even from time to time, they're just going to be like, do you know what? Today, I just need to vent. But if they're still taking lots of action, if they're still investing their time and finances with you, you still feel fulfilled because you know that that was just a moment in time. That was just a bad day, a tough morning, a challenging week for that person. And on the grand scheme of things, in the macro, you still feel like you're having the impact you want to have and that they still appreciate your expertise.
That's so true, yeah.
Right? But if it's the same thing every single session, yes, you can have carbs before training. Yes, you should have had carbs. You didn't have a banana. Why do you have no carbs? And of course, you have like nausea. Of course, you feel low in energy. You have no carbs. You didn't come prepared. You're not hydrated.
Yeah.
I told you to drink water before today. Today is a hot day. Why didn't you drink water before training? So if people are not creating change, if they're not taking action, chances are they just want to suffer and just have their suffering acknowledged and validated and heard. And they may not ever get to the point of wanting to do something about it, or the extent of them doing something about it might remain as it is. As I said, turning up, spending 30 minutes, an hour with you, that might be enough to tick the box for them. They may not ever want more than that. And we can't force that. We can't force them to have that intrinsic drive. All we can do is give them a fork in the road and present a new option, present a new offer for the people who want to step up, take more action, learn more, build more skills, apply those skills. And to the people who are drawn into that, you're going to have so much more fun working with them. They're going to get so much better results. And that's going to fill your cup up. That's going to give back more to you. And you'll continue to attract more people who want to do that. So that would be my suggestion, is package that up, new offer, people who want to get even more results, who want to learn more, who want to build their skills, who want to get busy applying those skills and feel supported in doing so. That would be my suggestion there. Because you can, what do they say? You can only lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's tough. If you're from a high performance background, like I swam for 12 years with triple Olympic gold medalists, like I know what effort looks like. Effort is getting out of the swimming pool, going to the bin to vomit, get back on the blocks to dive in again, like 12 times in a row. Do you know, that's what effort looks like. So for me, training gem pop clients is really hard because similar to what you just said, they come with, oh, my stomach is upset. Okay, why is your stomach upset? Oh, I ate pasta. But you know you don't digest pasta well, so why did you eat pasta? Oh my fucking god, like, do you want help or not?
Do that to yourself. Like, do you have all the time or do you enjoy pain?
Yes. Yes.
What is it? Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I don't understand. Like, and these are the same people that are telling you that they've got 1,000 problems in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, we are also humans. We're going through our own difficulties, but you don't see us throwing everything away. It's like one wrong thing and the entire goal is thrown out.
Yes.
And then it's going to take them at least another 2 weeks to get back into the right mind frame. And then it's like, okay, now I can come back to the gym. No, you gym irrespective. You focus irrespective,
Totally.
you know?
Totally.
It's just that mental strength that I think the Gen Pop just, I don't want to single myself out, but like you said, you know what effort looks like.
I know what effort looks like.
Say the same thing because you saw me 13 years ago or so. I was very heavy, Laura. You know, just to give you a little background of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I was married at 19. Okay?
Mm.
I've got kids, so currently I'm 12 years married. I just celebrated my anniversary.
Congrats. Oh, so sweet. Congratulations.
So I had a very early start in life, and like I always tell people, now I can actually see for what it was. I was just a child. It was just I was driven by societal pressure and culture, and I was just in a people pleasing phase of way, just trying to do the right thing by my parents. And as a girl coming from the Asian community, it was like, oh no, as soon as you get a good proposal, you need to settle down because you're a girl. If you hit the cutoff line, you're not gonna find anyone, blah blah blah. And I mean, there are some things where I wish I could have time, some events, it just meant to happen the way it's supposed to, because the universe sees that this is your life path. You have to go through it. You can't avoid it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
only when you go through it and you understand it for what it is, and then you either take it as a lesson and you grow from there, or you take it as you've been victimized and you keep repeating the cycle to the next person or
Mhm.
to the people around you.
Mhm.
Thankfully, I've always prayed for guidance in whatever it is. And I was so I had 3 kids, and I didn't have the best environment around me. I was severely, severely depressed, and I had high anxiety. This was my life for 10 years, and then I had a shift where I just moved out last year. And ever since that is when I started building up my business, and I took
Mm.
hold of my own health and my own training. And then, it's like, like how they say when you lose weight, people start noticing you.
Mhm.
You actually become like the limelight. You might just be part of the crowd, but nobody sees you. And then all of a sudden, you're like making an effort on yourself, and then you start getting noticed, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I think every step of the way, as you drop the weight or as you're trying to put on weight, if it's something that you're trying to invest in yourself, there's a certain character development that happens so subtly
Mhm.
that if you aren't in tune with yourself, you might just miss that train, and you will just let your ego take over you, and you
Mhm.
won't understand that in it there's a personal growth that happens.
Completely.
Because if I think and try to look at myself 10 years ago and how I think of things now and how I perceive things, it's so different. I mean, I've met people that tell me that, dude, like you've changed. And I'm not saying physically, like mentally. But
Mhm.
for me, I've gotten to a point where that I just want to grow. If there's a
Mm.
space for me to grow, I want to get uncomfortable and I want to
Mm.
grow,
I love that.
because I've let pain and hurt and fear and people's how can I people's bars
Mhm.
dictate how much I live,
Mm.
how I live it, and when I live it.
Mm.
I'm so
Mhm.
done with it that now I want to tap into my full potential and see how much more I can achieve.
Mm. I love that.
I don't care about, oh, you've lost weight. I don't care about all of that.
Mm.
I had a goal. My pain drove me. My whatever I came from drove me. But
Mm.
that's not who I am. I took it and I did what I could with it the best.
Mhm.
And now taken it and made it into my career, and I'm trying to help women. We might not have the same pains, but I can empathize, because I know what that looks like. Being a
Yeah.
woman in such a society, you have no sort of support. But now I'm here. I'm offering a service to you where you can channel all of that into a positive thing. Start investing into yourself, making yourself a priority,
Mm. Mhm.
and how things shift around you.
Yeah. That's amazing.
But it's so hard. Like, how much more suffer? Like, are you not tired of suffering?
Yeah.
It's hard, yeah.
And it's hard
The
to.
mental.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna echo and like piggyback off your comment about your own journey. Is who you probably initially attracted in your business may have been a closer reflection of who you were at the time, or you may have been a little ahead of the people you were working with in terms of you were just a little further down the path of where they wanted to go. But because now you've expanded so much, you maybe no longer identify with who you were back then. You see your own transformation between then and now, and you've, in a sense, like mentally and emotionally outgrown those people. And you've maybe got them from where they were to where you were, and they've kind of stopped dreaming. They've stopped, like, the ambition is no longer there. It's kind of like, well, cool, I got here and now, like, this is life. And everyone has a different capacity for growth. Everyone has a different hunger, appetite. Everyone has a different appetite for growth. And again, all we can do is just bring about more awareness for these people, because at the end of the day, if there's awareness, there's choice, but the choice ultimately remains on their shoulders, right? So if someone, for example, has the awareness of a self-sabotaging behavior, and when they get to that point where there's really terrible example, but just an example, let's say there's a salad on the table, but there's also donuts, and they see that fork in the road because they have awareness that they're quite likely to default to the donuts. But if they choose the donuts, They're choosing to suffer. They're choosing to stay stuck. They're choosing to stay victim. They're choosing the self-sabotaging behavior. So even with awareness, awareness is not the cure, right? Awareness is nothing without intrinsic drive. And again,
Yes.
people can only have intrinsic drive because they want to move away from something or towards something. Or usually both. They want to move away from the pain of being 10 kilos overweight, 15 kilos overweight, 20 kilos overweight, sore joints, back pain, upper back pain because their chest, they might have a big bust. They don't want to have the same health ailments that their parents had, etc., etc., etc. And they want to move towards something else, feeling lighter in their own skin, more confident, stronger, more independent with all that strength that they build. So it's just a constant process of tapping into the unconscious. How do we get the unconscious to conscious? How do we think of it like an iceberg, bring the unconscious to the conscious? And that's just a practice of you connecting with your thoughts and questioning those thoughts. What is the origin of that thought? What is the essence of that thought? Do I see that thought pattern in my mom? Do I see that thought pattern in my dad? Was it something that someone said to me? Right? And so I have like a fairly well established process of that with myself, but it's because I want that. I want that awareness because that awareness to me unlocks my brain. And my brain is the limiting factor and the permitting factor to everything I've achieved thus far. So if the awareness is the unlock, then I want the awareness because I will never be satisfied. That's just me. I can be content, I can be proud, I can be happy, but I will always have that thirst and hunger for more. So what I hear you saying is you've kind of outgrown the mentalities of these people, and you need a new tribe, you need a new crew. You want to invite people to level up, and you want to start attracting people with more intrinsic drive who want to have someone help them have even more impact in their lives. I really think you just need a new audience. And if we have a new offer and we start attracting new people who align with you and where you are now, who want to grow, that's going to be a key thing in terms of how we vet these people, how we, ascertain if they're a good fit or not, what's their hunger for growth. If they have no appetite for growth, not your tribe, not your vibe. You have an appetite for growth, like an insatiable appetite, welcome on board. We can help you. I think that's kind of where you're at. And it's to be expected. It happens to everyone, right? I mean, I feel like it should happen to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I wanted to bring up also is that in this part of the world, the online coaching is something that is it's very new.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very new. People are they're very much comfortable in one-on-one trainings, in-person training. I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my coach is, you should know him from Strength, Donovan.
No, yeah, cool. He's
So
great.
I've been with him for like the longest. Yeah, that's where I started my proper training with.
Oh, amazing.
Results. So he was the one to be like, I'm sure you know about his app that he launched in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he was online, like you could be able to handle more clients and you could get better exposure. And I try to, but it's just they like that support, that actual physical support of the trainer being there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they want you to always, how can I say, be in touch. Like I'm saying, the WhatsApp thing and keep in touch. Yes, we do check-ins, but they just want to be talked to every day. Check in following training session and stuff. I'm not supposed to baby you. You're an adult. We have a schedule. We spoke about it. If anything comes up, we can.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I need to just come down to base with my systems. Because even with the nutrition check-ins and the training check-ins, some of them don't check in, Laura. Like they don't tell me how their week has been. And I don't give them something that they will eat for the rest of every week of every day. Like they do it on a weekly basis. And you'd be like, okay, fine. So this week you've managed to nail in your hydration. So next week, let's focus on hydration and increasing your protein. It's like trying to build and get them used and adjusted bit by bit. they just don't adhere. First of all, there's no check-in. And then
Mm.
when we meet one-on-one, and then I'm like, so you didn't check in, like, what's up? Is everything okay? They're like, I had guests over, and then the excuses come. I have guests over, I this, I that. And then, I don't like to feel like I'm wasting my time because,
Of
like you
course.
said, I give my all to the
Of
people
course.
that I work with because I love it and I want to see the transformation for yourself. But you're just not delivering your side. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know how much breakdown do I have to do of the step by step with the nutrition and the habit part of it to actually get them to adhere. Sometimes, I mean, I got to a point where I actually thought that these guys are not seeing results because maybe they need supplements. I became very,
Granular.
how can I say, very rushed. Like I needed them to see what I'm seeing, but I needed them to see quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just realized that this was my anxiety taking over, and I just took a step back and I sort of meditated about it and just breathed about it. And I realized, no, you are doing your part. There's no need to take drastic or methods.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you can't tell the horse to drink. You can show them the water hole, but the choice is theirs.
Yeah, completely.
I
Completely.
would absolutely love to move into online coaching just to tap into a bigger pool of potential clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But right now my hands are so full. It's really like I start work at 7:30 now. Is why 5 a.m. work for me. I start at 7:30 and then I finish at 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start at 2 p.m. and then I finish around 6.
Mm-hmm.
I work days and then I'm still, like I said, I'm a mom. So I'm running school
Mm.
errands, afternoon errands, and we're not really doing that well. How can I say financially? Like it's my husband has started a new business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into personal training. Look, it's doing well. It's
Mm.
doing quite okay.
Mm.
But I would have wanted more and offered more in such a way that I can actually cut back. Like you said, just remove people that are not adding to me and sort of draining me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because then I know I have more go-getters and high achievers that I know when I tell them, okay, this is the plan, let's get to it. Wherever you're stuck, I'm there.
Yeah.
But I know you want this for yourself before you want me to want it for you.
Totally. I get you.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is where I see myself growing. It's like, okay, first I used to do it out of desperation because I needed to pull my weight around the house kind of a thing. And it was something that I love. So I would just pick any and everyone to be my client because then also that gave me a ground to sort of experiment, as much as I don't like to say that, but it was a learning process for me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I feel like I found how I want to operate
Mm-hmm.
and with who I want to work with, I can make that choice where I can offer something that I know I can invest in,
Mm-hmm.
and I know the person that I'm offering it to will attract, like you said, the potential tribe that I want to see myself around.
Mm-hmm.
And in that process, I grow, they grow, we both win. Obviously, there's always going to be a learning curve around it. You have to give at least some leeway for that. But yeah, that's essentially where I see myself. Like I just want to cut out a lot of the noise in terms of people
Mm-hmm.
and do it for the purpose and do it with women that want it for themselves.
Yeah.
I know there's a process where you have to educate them and then you just have to tap into that thing that gets that hunger going and they're like, okay, no, let's go now. Let's go. I'm ready.
Mm.
But they still like you just keep talking to it. It's just like it's like every session you meet them, it's a therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
a therapy session. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a and like I said, I'm exhausted, Laura. I get very, very tired. The moment I get home and I just want to unwind, I'm coming home to 3 kids. These kids got energy. I'm like drained. And it's not even from the work that I'm doing, it's from the energy that I'm putting into and I'm receiving all kinds of life stories that I did not sign up for. Like
Yeah.
you said, once in a while, it's fine. We all
Yeah.
fall off the plan. We all have a bad day. But every session, no, that's my time and my energy. I can't do this and I cannot continue
Mm-hmm.
to put myself because when I know I can do better now and I know I want to level up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know how to go about it because like I said, um even the in-person training, people are very, they don't see it as an investment. It's an additional cost of the month for them, train and to have somebody coach them and whatnot. And I don't like to use the word the pricing or the cost. It's more like how much are you willing to invest into your health?
Yes.
This is how much you would have to commit to.
Yes.
Is this something you see yourself wanting for you? And they're like, okay, look, I've got this commitment, I've got that commitment, I've got this, I've got that. So most of them will just sign up like twice a week. I've got one very high achieving client that trains with me 4 times a week.
Great.
So I go to her house to train her. But the others for 2 times a week, it's just like, oh, let's just come in. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You need to see what you want. Let's see what happens.
Yes.
It's like, oh no, I need to fit this in my life, but my life is very hectic. I don't have time. Like I need to do X, Y, Z, and I've only got from time to time. But like I said, desperate times just calls for me to just say yes to everyone. It's a yes. It's never not a no, because we need to be okay at home, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
But I feel like slowly but surely we're finding our feet now, and I'm able to have that choice for myself as a coach as to gauge my client. Is this a doer? Do they have potential? With a little bit of education, can they get from point A to point B?
And
You know,
do
and
they
not
want
just
to
say
get from point A to point B?
looking to lose weight because you just realize that, oh, you don't want to look like this anymore. So you just we need to just transform you overnight,
With that magic wand, right? Just whip it out of my back
Yeah,
pocket.
yes, exactly.
Oh my
So that's
gosh.
where I'm at right now. Like I feel like these like I'm just being shifted into this uncomfortable space again, but I'm ready, and that's what I want for myself, because I feel like if I create proper systems when it comes down to the training, to the nutrition part, to the habits part, and I like you said, produces as like a package or something, or like a better service, it will attract the right clients that I'm looking to work with.
Yes.
Effort will be there, but it's a manageable effort that I'm willing to put energy into. Not something that I know is going to drain me and I'm like completely finished, because truly, like, I mean, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, but I'm just absolutely
Done.
battered at the end of the day. I was just telling my friend, I don't know if it's me being in my 30s, but it looks like that magnesium is calling me right now.
The magnesium is real
But the amount of
tasty.
fatigue you do is crazy, hey? It's
Oh
crazy.
my gosh. I
Yeah.
really,
It's like I've got a bit of overwhelming schedule.
I mean, I get it.
Excuse me.
You don't mind putting, oh bless you, you don't mind putting in effort when the effort is fulfilling. When there's a reward to the effort, we can put in effort all day long. We're not allergic to effort. Like, we're cool with that. When the effort feels like it, when it takes away from your sense of fulfillment, that's when it becomes exhausting, because you're like, I have all these skills, I can help you in this many ways, and you're doing nothing with that. It's like, well, why bother? Why try? Why am I even here in the first place? Like, you're not going to take your magnesium, you're not going to drink enough water, you're not going to get enough sleep, you're going to tell me you're busy. Everyone's busy. Who the fuck isn't busy? Everyone thinks they're busy. Everyone thinks they are short on time. That's not unique, right? Everyone thinks their problems are unique. They're not. So why don't you, I'll send you my email. Why don't you email me over your current packages, and let's brainstorm like a high level offer that we can send out to people, and we can start dealing with who you're training with at the moment in a very different way. I think we bundle together a high package offer, and we make all those other services only available to those who are willing to invest. Everything else, the weekly check-ins, the nutrition, unless you're paying top level, you don't get that, because they're not doing it in the first place. Why? Because they're not investing enough. They're not investing enough with their dollars. They're not investing enough with their time. So now they don't get it. So that would be my suggestion. And then if they want that, if they have more intrinsic drive, if they want to take more action, if they want to invest more of their time and more with their wallets, then they get access to it. But I think for now, you're giving a lot more than what they're putting in. That's taking away from your energy. keep that energy only for your high level clients. And maybe even for your existing clients, we may look to move them to small group and they can talk to each other about their problems. And you can just be there correcting everyone's technique, guiding them on the technique, the weights, the reps, the weights. And we maybe get them from a one-to-one situation because you can't leverage your time. You can't build anything else if you're back to back for that much of the day. So I think longer term, we look to put them in a small group. They can chit chat all day long about their problems to each other. And you just go around technique correction, weight, rep, range. You're going to give them more autonomy. You're going to be like, I'm not holding your hand anymore. You want to talk about your problems? Here's 3 other people you can talk to. I'm here to correct your posture. I'm here to correct your technique. I'm here to make sure you're safe. I'm here to clarify anything. But you are paying for small group now. You want everything else? You want the bells and whistles? That's going to be a lot more money. It's going to be a lot more time. You'll get better results because you'll put in the money and you'll put in the time. But if you don't want more results than what you're getting, cool, you go in the group.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And so I really think that's, again, we've got to give people a fork in the road and ask them, do they want to level up? Are they cool just having their problems heard, validated, acknowledged? I really think there's an endemic of middle-aged women not feeling heard, not feeling understood, not feeling appreciated, not feeling acknowledged. I feel it in my own clients. I think that's a huge problem. I do. So I get it. But at the same time, if they want to see a difference in their physique, if they want to feel a difference in their health, if they want to feel healthier, they're going to have to take a lot more action than what they're taking. And so if they,
that's
right, if they only want to turn up, tick the box of having done something positive for themselves and feeling heard, great. But we're going to do it in a way that doesn't take so much from you. And for the people who want to turn up and take a lot of action and tell you about their problems from time to time, then we'll be able to serve them to a much higher degree because we're going to have the systems in place, we're going to have the package in place to be able to facilitate that. So why don't you, when you can, email me over your existing packages. Let me look through that. Let's brainstorm a better solution, and then let's offer that out to them. And then we'll just hit them with the new options and see what happens. But we'll make an announcement too. It's not going to be overnight. We'll give them a timeline. So we'll say, just so you know, I'm revising my packages. The new packages will be effective from the 1st of September, as an example. That's 3 months. That's a nice amount of time to, have that heads up. 3 months is a good timeline. So from 1st of September, there will be new packages. I'll be sharing more details about that soon, but just so you know, packages are going to change.
Yeah. I was just going to ask something. I completely slipped my mind. But what I was saying is that just can't remember.
Oh no shit.
I just got into what you were saying about the packages. That sounds like a really, really good thing. I think that's the guide that I'm looking for. Like just to minimize on the just group the ones that just want that community and that sense of belonging together.
Yes.
And then have those that are very driven and actually want results and the goal in mind.
Yes.
And you can put those into like a higher package, like how you said, with the offer.
Totally.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Totally, because then
I do. The plan is there to sort of open up a how can I say a group fitness thing for females, because this place is so small, Laura, that I'm one of maybe 3 female trainers. The rest are males.
Right. Wow.
So I think that's where I have an upper hand. But now I'm really seeing how it's not really an upper hand, because now I'm just getting taken advantage of. They're like, oh, she drives to the house, she's got the equipment, she's female, we're comfortable, but we're not ready to pay that much, but we'll pay. But she comes home and it works for us. With me as a person, I think it just down regulates my thought process as well, because I'm allowing
Mm-hmm.
When you're working with someone, there's only so much you can block off around you
Yeah.
from absorbing from the next person.
Well.
So the fact that I make myself really available to anyone and everyone, I don't like that, and I'm beginning to see that, and it's taking a toll on my personal life,
Mm-hmm.
and that is not how I envision my life. I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to keep my work life and my work mode
Mm.
separate to the person who I am at home and how I do things at home.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's leaking into my personal life and I'm just becoming this very grumpy, moody person, I don't like that. And it's because I'm taking so much
Mm-hmm.
from the people I'm working with and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to switch off. And that was something I was able to do when my hands weren't so full. I could switch off and turn on mom
Mm-hmm.
mode and wife mode and me mode, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just like that work girl, that Saria that's in the training mode. And I don't like that because I can, like, sorry to say, but I can be a bitch sometimes. And I'm even like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you say that to the kids? Or why would you say that to your husband? Like, I can openly acknowledge that I'm a bit mean sometimes.
So
And I
good.
know
You're
I
about
don't
that.
want that. I
Yeah.
don't want that leakage to happen. And
Mm.
I've realized that it's because I'm giving my whole self to every individual from different walks of life, and I'm just there for you to train. They want to stop during training and they want to tell me that, yeah, but last week I'm like, guys, come on, the resting time is up, let's go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just pushing it too far now.
Mm-hmm.
And at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I don't want to come off as very rude because I can get rude very fast because you're not getting shit done.
Yes.
But then you want to talk. I'm not here to talk.
Yes.
Like, let's just work. You see, so exactly what you said. Those that want community, group them together.
Yes.
Those that are high achievers and looking for that growth and
Yes.
want to achieve that aesthetic physique and just that strength,
Yes.
single them out, offer a higher package because I know that it won't even be about the money, but it's about the service that you're
Yes.
offering. And
Yes.
that's what they're looking for
Yeah.
someone that knows what they're doing, how they're going to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what they want. They just need a coach.
Mm-hmm.
The rest just want to train for the sake of training and to find community and people to talk to.
Yeah. True. And
There's so much that need like that.
yeah, the ones who invest will see the value in what you bring to the table, and they'll tap into your expertise, but they'll do something with it, right? So they won't just ask you 4 or 5 questions about nutrition. They'll be taking notes. They'll make notes in their phone. Like my clients they'll be like, oh my God, can I just write that in my phone really quickly? Because I don't want to forget that. So they just like run, get the phone, they like put a note in, and then bam, back to training. So they'll actually take action on the amazing wisdom that you share with them and the information that you share with them. They're not just going to be like, oh yeah, I don't know, it seems like a little bit expensive. It seems expensive because you're not going to take action. That's why it seems expensive. When you take action and you do something with the information I give you, it's going to get you a lot further down this path. It's going to get you closer to where you want to be. It's going to help you move weight faster, lose body weight faster, feel stronger. You're going to put on 5 kilos of muscle this year instead of 2. But people don't see value when they don't take action. When they're partnered with someone who's knowledgeable and they are willing to take action on everything that you give to them, then you fill your cup up, they get great results, everyone wins. But when someone, again, just comes to training because they just want to spend, and look, for some people, spending that time doing something positive for themselves is great. My clients have shared that with me. I have one client who's like, do you know what? If nothing else, this is me having me time. Coming to see you is me having me time.
Yeah.
And that's great and that's powerful and that's positive. And one person's goals is not better than another. It's not for me to judge the value of a person's goals.
Yes.
But the frustration
It's
is
figure out the time management. Sorry to cut you off. It's just the time management that I need to work around,
yeah.
because like I'm saying, I've got full days and I'm very, very grateful. But I would rather full days with working with people that are moving the needle,
Yes.
as opposed to just constantly week after week, repetitively seeing the clients that have the same thing. I don't have time. I had a social event. Oh, my weekend was so jam-packed. I didn't have time for this. I didn't have time for that.
Yeah, you didn't make time.
I've got a client month to month, Laura, and she only shows up like maybe six times in a month, whereas she's paid for like 10, 12 sessions.
Right.
I'm like, do you have so much money that you can just throw away?
And she's not even bothered about makeup sessions or whatever. And I feel guilty holding on to that. I'm like, woman, like you need to show up.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, I've got a migraine. No, my back is killing today. No, my knee. I said, and I told her before she signed up that please get the go ahead from your doctor before you start with me. The same woman that did the gastric bypass. I said,
Right.
strength training is not going to have you bunny hopping all around the place, but it will require some form of effort from you. And if you don't even have that basic level of strength or whatever, then you're just going to waste your time. You're probably better off starting with a biokineticist or a physio just to get your muscles up to par. She's like, no, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. But I need to exercise and I need to do something. I told her, look, I'm not a physio. I don't know how the physios work. I'm not a biokineticist. I don't know how they work, but I will try to just get you to move your body in the best ways that I know without weights and just get some movement in. Walking is a problem. Everything is a problem to the point where then she just started coming like when she felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I'm saying, I was in a position where I needed the money, so I just had to deal with whoever was in my way. But now that I'm growing into this business and I'm finding a certain niche that I want to work with, because it adds to me as a coach, and I feel like I'm more driven working with people like that. I don't want to now settle for any and everyone.
Yeah.
And if I set the bar and I set the entry level at a certain point, then I know that the post and the offer itself will just filter out the doers from the don'ters, kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah. Or the doers and the talkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I see myself now. Like I think it's time for the next step to
revise everything at base and then improve on that and then offer it on a better platform.
Yeah, definitely. And over time, you can kind of graduate from the talkers as you attract more and more of those high achievers, because as your branding starts to speak and your marketing starts to speak more and more to that high achiever, as you start to attract more and more of those women, you can start to graduate more and more from the talkers, and we can start to put them in groups, and then we can hire a trainer who can take them. So then you're not even taking the talky ones. You can find a trainer who's very sociable, or train a trainer, maybe someone who's starting in their personal training career, someone who's maybe going through their education, their certificates now, who wants a foot in the door, who's young, energetic, social, who would do really well with that demographic. And you can have that trainer train them. You can train them on how to train them. And then once they're at capacity, as in terms of once they have the skill set and once they're competent in training group, then you can be completely hands off to that side of your business. You can only do 4 or 5 high achieving women in the morning, have lunch, train, have the evening to yourself. Completely remove yourself.
If you don't mind, I'd like to know a little bit about yourself and how did you what was your journey like and where are you at now? And I just want to know, just different, from a coach's perspective. I just want to see and hear about your journey.
Yeah.
If you don't mind sharing.
No, of course. So I've been in fitness for around 15 years, but as a personal trainer for about 10. So I was a swimmer. My migration into personal training was from swimming. So from swimming, I became a swimming coach, swimming instructor. I have a degree in public health, so I have a tertiary education in public health. Though when I graduated, there weren't many positions for entry level, and the government so I'm from Queensland, which is a state in Australia. The government wasn't pouring much funding into preventative measures. So public health itself didn't have a lot of funding. That's not a lot of jobs. And I got a job as a swimming instructor. It's very easy, obviously, to work as a swimming instructor in Australia. There's thousands of us. At a facility which was on my university complex, my university campus. And it was a 3-story facility where the swimming pool was on the bottom, and that's where I started working. And they really needed more students to do more hours. So then they asked me if I wanted to become a lifeguard as well, and that way they could give me bigger shifts where I could lifeguard for 6 hours and coach for 2. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? Because at the time I was graduating at the same time that I got this job, and it wasn't looking promising that I would get a job in public health. I wanted to work in health promotion. So I was like, sure, like I don't have anything else lined up, so I might as well, do as much as I can as I continue to look for something more aligned with public health. And then I got to a point where I could do everything on the pool level. I was really competent in like all areas there. And then the gym was on the second floor. And so I was like, well, I'm kind of up for the next challenge. I don't mind learning the ropes there as well. So then they taught me how to work on gym reception and the different things that happened up there and what to factor in. So I got competent in that. And I said, what's the next challenge? And they said, well, if you become a personal trainer, you can work on gym floor. And then you can start taking personal training clients and group fitness classes. And I was like, cool, I'll do that. And I just never got a typical job in public health, although arguably personal training is somewhat similar to public health. And it's like 10 years later, and like I personally lost 10-15 kilograms, about 16% body fat since this chapter of my journey. I had a chronic inflammatory condition, which is why I had to stop swimming. The cartilage that connects your ribcage to your sternum on me was just chronically inflamed, couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk 100 meters to the bus stop without getting a terrible, terrible stitch. I had like no intercostal space. It's like I had a left rib and a right rib and no gaps in between. So I started to make changes to my own health because I found the right physiotherapist to help me during that time. We kind of just all culminated in that way. And then I moved to Singapore in 2015. My now ex-husband had a work opportunity here. And I came with like no money, no job, and no visa. I didn't know anyone and just hustled my ass off basically. And so yeah, now I've had my own business in Singapore since 2017, and I primarily work with high achieving women who are in tech, so Oracle, Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Microsoft, travel, Expedia, Accor, pharmaceuticals, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. Most of them are married. Some of them, not all of them, have children, and they come from, I have a lot of clients from India, from the UK I have some, where else, from Australia, some local also clients. And yeah, so now I'm trying to replicate what I do in person, more so in the online space, because Singapore is so transient. We have a lot of people repatriate or go from Singapore to Dubai, Singapore to London, Singapore to New York. So I don't want to lose touch with those clients. I'm looking at how can I replicate what I do in person, online, and business coaching as well. So I've done a little bit of business coaching for other PTs too. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Well, wow. I mean, you've had your own journey as well, hey?
Yeah, and
But it's so glad to get in touch with you because I feel like I can relate to a lot of the posts that you put up and your journey. And I follow you very closely on Instagram, so I just feel like, okay, no, I see, like, we might not walk the same path, but there is some sort of connection. Like, I feel like, okay, that's why I decided to reach out when I saw your last post, because I was like, yo, your girl needs help out here. Like, I don't see the way forward.
Yeah.
But after this Zoom, I definitely see that, okay, no, this is how you go about things. For me, it's more the business coaching, like you mentioned. It's like how to get that in place that actually are effective, and I'm not draining myself like a desk job where it's just becoming repetitive and I'm not enjoying it anymore. And results have stalled in clients because of me not being able to create the proper systems that they can adhere to. Is why I had texted you on Instagram to be like, I think I need to revise my strategies. I don't know how much breakdown can I go besides telling them how much carbs and protein and fat and what examples those are, and that you should um, not necessarily weigh your food, but you can just go by hand measurements or whatever it is, or just go by fullness. Like, how much more lower do I go? Do I at this point spoon feed you or what? Or deliver the meal prepped to you? It's just, I don't know.
It's
Like I said,
frustrating.
with the training, yeah, I only see you like an hour out of your 23 hours.
Yeah.
And I make sure that you're nailing it. I make sure that you're ugly facing it in the gym because it has to be proper effort. And I want to get you into that
Yes.
headspace. You know, you're going to work.
Yes. There has to be ugly faces or
But
we didn't try.
yeah, exactly. Right. So, but then outside of there, it's like, oh no, I trained hard today. So I need to eat this. No, you don't. You don't need to eat it.
No. You need to drink
So,
water, you need to take your magnesium, you need to eat something. Do you need to eat all these like nice to have foods?
mm,
And
I teach them that doesn't mean that everything is bad. But if you're working with a health condition or a situation where you're just inflaming your body even further, understand that you just have to heal your body for a certain amount of time.
yeah.
And then you slowly reintroduce this thing that you enjoy. It's
Yeah.
not about restriction. It's
No.
eating, but with eating mindfully.
Correct. And
The
being
fact that you have
disciplined.
no control right now is that we need to just get your body to work how it's supposed to,
Yes.
and then eventually reintroduce that food again. And that takes some sort of discipline on your side
Yes.
and a high wanting for yourself,
For sure. For
you
sure.
know, because now that your body is speaking to you and in not a very happy way, you need to try to make it happy again so everything can function as you would like, unless you're very much comfortable with going on the pill or having the doctor prescribing you 10 different pills for 10 different times a day. But
Yeah.
otherwise, just do the right thing by your body.
And two, people think that they're entitled to weight loss and fat loss. And like, yeah, that should come easily when you sleep at regular times and wake up at regular times, when you consistently drink 3 or 4 liters of water a day, when you consistently get 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of what you weigh a day, when you consistently get at least 8, if not 10,000 steps a day, when you consistently exercise 4 times a week, when you consistently dedicate 15 minutes of your day, 1% of your day, to mindfulness. I mean, arguably, we need a hell of a lot more than that because people are so mindless. But like when you have those, when you consistently get enough fiber in your diet, you know, like people are chronically under consuming fiber, so vegetables and fruits. People are barely getting 10 grams, and females need at least 25 grams a day. Yeah, okay. When those 7 basic, and I could go on, but when those 7 basic things are in place, then yes, weight loss,
then you
fat
can
loss,
ask for the big thing.
yes. But until you have those 7, 8, 9, 10 things consistently down pat, do not think you're entitled to see a kilogram move. You're not. Your body is constantly trying to create a homeostasis. It's trying to create an equilibrium. How does it do that when everything is so unpredictable? When one day you sleep in 4 hours later, one day you go to bed 3 hours later, one day you're super stressed and you don't take your fish oil and you don't take your magnesium. The next day you have 1 liter of water to drink. Your body's going to be like, bitch, what are you doing? Like,
so true. It's so true.
when it has that predictability, then your body can be like, okay, I can lose this weight because I know I'm going to get vitamins and minerals. I know I'm going to get hydration. I know I'm going to get my supplements. I know I'm going to get sleep. So when that is all in place, the body can be like, okay, I have everything I need to do a good job at all the jobs I need to do. When your body doesn't have that, your body's like, well, I can't do that well, and I can't do that well, and I can't do a good job of that. And I can sort of do a good job at that. But, you know, I'm kind of just doing an okay job at everything. Of course, weight's not going to move because the body needs to keep you alive. So if the body is in a constant state of just trying to keep you alive, of course, that's the bigger priority. Not weight loss, not fat loss. It's to keep you alive. So you have to make sure you're really, really, really keeping your body alive really well and treating it like a temple, not a trash can, in order for anything to shift. And people just think they're entitled to, I ate a salad once, I should lose 10 kilos. Like, yeah, that's not how it works. You ate a salad once, great, do it again. You got 90 grams of protein once, great, do it tomorrow. And people think they're light switches. Behavior change takes time. It takes at least 66 days to make one good habit. One. Up to 250, between 66 and 250. So think about all the habits a person needs to create in order to get the result they want to see. It's going to be probably in the realm of 6 to 10 habits, like long term, 6 to 10. So you can't create 10 good habits overnight because that's just not how people operate. They're not light switches. People think they're light switches. People are not light switches. You can't just turn off the alcohol and turn off the carbs. No, over time you're going to want those carbs, and you should have carbs, especially if you want to get stronger. How do we do that? We have carbs before we train. That way your body makes the most of that glycogen, right? So there's a huge disconnect between people's understanding of how change is formed, how change happens, and their expectations of how it should happen. And that I tie that back to my public health degree. We really heavily went through that in public health. So I get that. Most people do not. And most coaches are like, just don't drink the soda. I'm like, not a helpful thing to say. Because, it's a little bit, again, there's context and nuance. It's a little bit more to it than that. But definitely time to up your prices, time to package all that you offer together and have a high ticket offer. And if we can make the same amount of, like, the same return on having like 5 high ticket clients as you do all your existing clients, then we can start to bundle those talkers together, look to hire a trainer who can then just take the talkers. You just deal with the high performing clients. And the people who don't want to take action, they just want to talk, they're not going to get your other services. Why? Because they're not doing anything with it. So it's all redundant at this point, And if they want to invest more time, more effort, more energy, and more with their wallets into everything else that you can offer, they can pay for it. And when they pay for it, they'll do it. And if they pay for it,
so true.
If they pay for it and they don't do it, it's not expensive enough.
Yeah, I mean, I try to set a price point according to the pricing over here in such a way that at first I used to work for peanuts. Hey, like it was like very, very low just because I was desperate and I achieved a skill and I didn't know the value of the skill because I just worked just to acquire clients and just to build myself. But like I'm saying, now that I know what I can offer and the amount of experience and where I am, I think it's high time to move forward. And I used to, like, even now, like I'm saying with this client that just pays me in full, but then she's only attending 6 sessions. I could just easily do with, like, you know what, my girl, come for the group class. That's where you're going to get all the attention and all the therapy you need whilst you're training.
Totally.
Because I'm not getting any weights. My time that I could put into something else getting wasted per se. I don't want to say the word wasted, but truly I would love to put my time elsewhere and just have one session in the morning and one in the afternoon where I could accommodate these ladies and see to it that, okay, fine, they're still part and parcel, they're still with me. And eventually, like you said, branch them off to a trainer that is able to take them on, and then I could have a little bit more free time. Because essentially, the whole purpose of me trying to work on my own is not to overburden myself, but to have flexible work times where I can make time for my family and make time for myself. But right now, I've just overscheduled, like overscheduled, hour to hour, no breaks in between. It's a lot, it's a lot. And so now it means if I have an emergency with one of my kids or family, it's like, okay, can we reschedule? Now I have to figure out where to reschedule you because the entire week is blocked off. Now there's another stress.
Yeah.
And then, like that, like my daughter was just saying, she's struggling a bit with teachers at school. So I just need to make up a meeting and go and meet them. So now I'm already thinking like, shit, when do I do this now? Because there's no time. Like I've overscheduled. Like I need to see everyone that signed up.
Yeah.
Because it's just the way things are right now. Like I need to sort of financially become a bit more stable. So I need to work those times. But if I find a way forward and do still do the same thing, but better and on my time, even with better energy, because I'm telling you, I'm so drained and I don't like this feeling of being so exhausted. And I'm someone that I can religiously go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time. And I'm an early riser. If I wake up any later, I feel like so lethargic in that. But now it's like I'm not even getting enough hours of sleep. So I'm just running on coffee and whatever meal I can fit into the day. And I absolutely do not like that, Laura. I don't,
It's not a good feeling.
So it's yeah, it's getting the best of me now. But in that there's an education part of it. I mean, I've bought 2 packages from the NASM. It's a coaching package and a nutrition package. I just feel like as I move forward, I need to become a bit more thorough in how to do things, I suppose, just to get that education that can back whatever experience I already have.
And having someone to guide you in terms of business processes and operations and marketing and everything else, it just takes one more thing off your plate, because a coach can be like, this can look at it with a bird's eye view and like zoom out and see that whole perspective and identify the 1 or 2 things that are going to move the needle the most, so that you don't feel like you have to spread yourself so thin and so far in every single department. Having someone to be like, to look at the whole business and go, given that in mind, given this is how things are now, I would work on this and I would work on this, and just get really good at working on those 2 things. Then it creates more space to work on the next thing. Otherwise, it's very easy to just be in a state of reaction and just being on that hamster wheel, so to speak, where it's like, and Instagram post, and this, and programs, and client makeups, and blah, 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 blah. Like, we can get you a VA, right? So we can get you to a point where things are structured in a way where you can hire an assistant and have an assistant manage your schedule. And you can tell your assistant, I am only working this time till this time and this time till this time. And they will work with that accordingly, right? So just zooming out, there's definitely a lot we can put in place. But for now, I would give yourself a timeline. Let's say it's like 1st of September, new packages. I need you to email me your current packages. Let me look at how you currently structure things. Let's put together a high ticket offer, and let's start speaking more and more to that person, that avatar, in terms of your marketing, in terms of your branding, and in terms of who we're networking with, who we're getting referrals from. Let's get you more and more of those high ticket, high achieving, high performing women, and always charge a price that makes you feel uncomfortable to say. Because when you do that, you honor you, and you are going to grow as a result of that, because you have set an expectation that you need to create X amount of value, because that's what you've charged. So you never do it according to what everyone else is doing. You always do it according to what feels uncomfortable. There will be a number where it'll be like, okay, $100 an hour, comfortable. 120 an hour, comfortable. 150 an hour, comfortable. 165 an hour, comfortable. 180. Getting uncomfortable. Good, that's the price I need to charge. That's going to force you to level up too. If you charge a comfortable price, you stay comfortable. You become complacent. When you charge an uncomfortable price, you make yourself step up. You bring more to the table. You educate yourself more. You go further out of your way to service these women. And they see even more value in you, because you've made yourself do that, because you asked for an uncomfortable investment. So always charge a price that makes you feel uncomfortable.
So I just wanted to ask you as well, so obviously I realize this now, that I need a lot of business coaching in terms of like you said, I think seeing things from a bigger point, sort of whiteboard. Yeah, and I would like to work with you. So I just wanted to know, how does it go? How do we go about this? 6 months package, or like 3 months, or how does it work?
Good question, Queen. So it's at least 6 months, because it takes a long time to roll these things out, right? Like if we're looking at September to roll out new packages, because tomorrow is July, August. I usually feel that 2 months notice is a good amount of time to let people know. I think 1 month is too sudden, and I think 3 for you just gets too long, because the train is like, okay, any minute now, like any minute now, like when do I roll out the new prices? So it takes time to put these processes and structures in place. It takes time to hire virtual assistants. It takes time to hire new trainers to train your the people you're hiring in terms of your business structure and how you deliver things. So it's at least 6 months. And we catch up at least once a week on Zoom where we go through. I'll have a form that you complete before every single call, and I review the form. So the form will ask you some simple questions like, what's working well? What is your biggest win from the week we just had? What are you currently working on? What do you feel stuck on, or what do you really need my support with? And then we just take the call from there. So obviously when we take the call, we're diving into what is a sticking point? What's the bottleneck? And how do we remove the bottleneck? And in between, it's ongoing communication. Like, I'll reply as soon as I can, right? Like, I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. Yep. I don't sleep, like I hardly sleep. So it's ongoing communication. I'm currently building out a health score sheet for my clients, which is really cool. So I'm looking at 6 different pillars of health, and I'm kind of ranking them from like novice all the way to advanced. And this is going to be really helpful with your clients too, in that you can pass it on to them and get them to highlight different parts of the scorecard so they can see where they're at. And it's just another way to bring about awareness of where they can take things, right? And you can even use that scorecard to assess them and say, okay, well, based on this, you are going to be suited to the high performance program, or you're going to be suited to the small group sessions. And you don't have to say why, because like you're only talking to take no action. But it could be another tool that we use to invite that opportunity to step up and to say, well, if you're a novice in 4 of the 6 categories and you want to become like advanced, or even if you want to become intermediate, then I offer that in my high performance program, right? So it's weekly calls, it's the weekly feedback forms. You'll have access to what I create. So I'm creating that high performance scorecard, which I'll provide to you, which you can provide to your clients. I'll help you with job descriptions when it comes to hiring trainers, when it comes to hiring virtual assistants. My assistant is the glue to my life. I would just die without her. She's amazing. So it's everything is the inside and it's the outside, but we're working on what needs the most work now. That's the thing. That's what a good coach does. Because I could give you all the information in the world and you'll become even more overwhelmed and be like, what the hell? So the first thing we would be working on, obviously, I want you to send me the package options, the price list, and the terms and conditions. So is it a 12-month validity? Is it a 6-month validity? Is it a 6-week validity? How many clients do you have? How many sessions each client does? They're the big metrics we need now. Then we'll go from there and we'll piece together the high performance program, whatever we want to call it. Then we'll start rolling it out. And we need a lot of marketing behind that. Okay. And what we'll probably do is do some sort of live where we go in depth and we talk about that. And we can invite people to attend that call where you can explain the difference between that program and what you're currently doing. So we're just going to attract more people of that nature. But 6 months, honestly, to see some sort of tangible change and to just give you enough time to roll these things out too. Because again, it takes time to create all these documents, all these structures, all these processes, standard operating procedures. It does take time. It's a process of streamlining, especially if you've gone from being really, really busy to now we want you to be less busy. We want to have more leverage time. We've got more people working together with less of your, energy for every single person because they don't need it. It's definitely not so simple as just clicking your fingers and suddenly now you've got 4 more hours free of the day. So yeah, it's got to be at least 6 months. And maybe more like 12 if we're going to look at hiring someone too. If we're going to hire someone to take these small group classes, it can take time to hire people, right? So 6 months for sure. Same with my clients.
I don't think I'm in a position where I want to hire someone right now,
Not yet,
even if
no.
it's in the next, okay, give it till December.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I am trying to streamline and, like you say, sort of build a proper niche of women that I'm trying to attract.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm trying to, on the side, just get my home gym up to standard. only because I like to start offering classes. So that is something that it is one of my goals right now. Before the end of December, I have this place set up, and then I can dedicate my time, my actual time, to maybe like 3 fitness classes 3 times and have a certain amount of women come in and have their session done. But then the outside of this classes, then I'm dedicating my time to my one-on-one clients who are potentially the ones that I will find and meet and connect with on a level where I can see that I bring value to them, I can help them, and they're ready to put in their part of the work. That's how I would like to allocate the time. And I would want to have a cut of time by the end of the evening, knowing that, okay, I fulfilled, I've worked, and if ever the time allows, and I can actually, if I would ever want to help Laura, it would be me being able to afford hands on deck at home, an extra set of hands on deck at home, where I know that, okay, fine, I don't have to blink and I know everything's getting done there. And then if time allows and my growth allows me, then I can eventually then consider an assistant for myself in my business. Because like I said, I wish in the perfect life everything was okay and I could grow and work. But I have a family to come home to. I don't want to make work my entire life. I need to be able to switch off, switch on and switch off. But I'm just not getting that switching off anymore. I'm leaking. My character, my work character is leaking into my personal life. And it's making me be a mean, like I said. I don't like that, I don't like the person because I'm so overworked and I'm frustrated and I'm overwhelmed that I just don't get a chance to breathe. It's just go. Get in the car, next house, get in the car to the gym, get in the car, because I do home trainings and I do gym trainings as well. It's just driving the whole day, get stuck in traffic and you're questioning your life in every room. And then you're with the next client's house and you don't know what you're walking into, how they're feeling this morning. So I don't want that unnecessary noise. I want to feel fulfilled, present, work, like you said, set a bar, knowing that the value that I'm bringing to the client is worth their investment and my time. And also when I come home, I can be fully present with my family. But to get to that point where I'm attracting such clients is why I said I need to revise my basic strategies, my education, get really proper on those stuff, nail everything down. Probably I don't know if this is how it works, but would you have to maybe run a test on the different systems just to see what the approach and the attraction like with the public, and then, or do you just wrap everything up together and then
Look, would be good question. I think with fitness it's pretty straightforward, because usually when people are looking for one thing, they're looking for another, right? So usually when people want to get stronger and when they want to lose body fat, I guess it might depend on different parts of the world, but I think most people have enough education that they know they need to adjust their diet as well. So I think in this instance, they kind of go hand in hand. There might be other things that we beta test or that we pilot, but I think just because of the nature of the industry itself, usually when people are looking for one thing, they're looking for another. It's quite predictable. It's not completely unexpected, like, oh, and you want to buy a sofa? What? I thought I was here to train you. So I think if we look at a format of how we can deliver that in a way that also feels good for you. So for your high ticket clients, maybe it's a minimum of 3 sessions, 3 one-to-one sessions a week, and a group nutrition call each week, and maybe a quarterly live event. So for example, you could do at your home gym, you could do an in-person live event you could do a push-up masterclass as an example. You could do a healthy habit masterclass, like how do you build healthy habits? We can look at habit tracking apps. We can look at the live I just did. My suggestion, have 3 different goals. One on nutrition. Usually I start with protein because protein makes the most difference. When it comes to losing weight, when it comes to building muscle, protein makes the biggest difference. So that's usually my go-to for most people. Obviously, not absolutely everyone, but most. So, my second goal is usually related to movement. So, step count. People who have corporate jobs barely get 3,500 steps a day. I usually look to increase that by 25%, sustain that, and then increase it again by another 25%. Sustain it and get up to around 10,000 if we can, and sustain that. If people can't get more steps, maybe they have back-to-back meetings that they're not able to actually walk around, then I want them to spend more time standing. Apple Watch is great. It tells me this. I'm sure a few other devices do too. But I stand for 17 hours a day. I don't always get 10,000 steps. No, I got 8,500 yesterday. But I stand for 17. So standing is going to naturally elevate my heart rate by about 20 beats per minute. If I'm doing that for 17 hours, you think my body doesn't notice? Like, that's a big fucking difference, right? And then the third goal is usually related to mindset. So 15 minutes, 1% of your day, being with your mind, being with your thoughts. It could be breath work, it could be journaling, it could be listening to meditation, it could be reflection. It could happen in a number of ways. It just depends on what feels in alignment with that person. Like, what do they gravitate towards? As some people are better at listening and they like podcasts. Some people prefer to watch things. They're more visually oriented. So, and you could do something on healthy habits. But if we find a way that you can structure it, which adds to your energy, doesn't take away, where you feel like you're having an impact and the people working with you feel impacted and they feel like they're really shifting the needle, then it can't not work. Like, it just, if we get you in front of the right people, it can't not work. Okay. What we could do is we could promote it to the first, let's say, September. If we're able to put people into groups and we're able to open up X amount of time slots in your schedule, we could offer the high performance program at a slightly discounted rate, but for a long buy-in time. So say they have to buy in for 4 months, so it's 16 weeks, and we could offer that at a slightly discounted rate for the first 2 people. Then I can't see how you wouldn't get interest for that. I mean, especially if you're one of only 3 female trainers there, like, the hell. And you don't want to be competing on price. Chances are, if you put your prices up, people are going to see you as being better than everyone else because you charge a higher price, which means you bring more value to the table. So you would probably become even more popular by increasing your prices, because people are going to be like, there's a reason why she charges that much. She must be good. She must be able to get me results. Whereas, like, you don't want to be Target, right? Like, you're Hermes. You're not H&M. You're Hermes. So you need to charge Hermes prices. But there's definitely a way we can do that. Yeah. So, yeah, we just got to reverse engineer. I think if we look at September, then you have, like, mentally, you can kind of, like, exhale a little bit because you have a timeline. So that's mentally going to bring you some relief. And then we just have to reverse engineer the steps from there. So from here, let me just take a look at your current packages. Let me look at your pricing structure. I'll send you a list of questions, but more or less everything we've talked about. So the different packages, all of the different packages you have, who you're traveling to train. So how many times a day are you traveling to train people? The validity period on those packages, number of clients, and then we can look at how we can move things around come September. So I just want to look at that first, but are you available to have a catch-up call perhaps tomorrow? I don't want to cut into your family time because I know you have special, I know family time is precious, but maybe we can catch up on another call when it's convenient for you, and I can share with you the plan that I have in terms of how we go about doing this.
Okay, so let me just drop you all my
Yeah.
information today.
Yes.
Email,
Yeah, that'd be great.
and then we can put on the time that works. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, excellent. How your weekend is probably with family, yeah?
Flexible over the weekends?
Yeah, totally. Actually, I think I'm free at this same time tomorrow. Let me just think.
You're setting your whole routine, Laura. Well, it's 5 a.m. wake ups. It's gonna be my daily habit, I promise you.
I'm like, actually, girl needs a little bit more sleep. One, count back from 6 hours, so that's 1, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. How is 7 a.m. for you? Because I'm sure kids are off school, they're probably up and running around. How is your
What day is this?
for tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Saturday,
Yeah.
7 a.m. Yeah, I could do 7 a.m.
Is that
Can I
doable for
do?
you?
I've actually got a 7:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
I've got a client at 6:30.
Do you prefer later then? I could do.
No, I think let's do the 5 a.m.
Are you
Because later then the kids are awake, it's going to be an absolutely noisy house, and I just cannot even lock myself in the bathroom because they come banging down. So
sure? Oh my gosh, funny.
5 a.m. is fine. If it works for you,
Yeah.
your time.
I can do 6 your time, if I'm not mistaken. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You have 7:30,
Yeah,
did you
6.
say? Is that
Yes,
okay?
so 6 works.
Beautiful. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to block that in right now, and I'll send you the list of questions. I just want to take a look at those stats and those details and make sure that I've got some sort of plan in mind. If you can too, also like screenshot me your schedule just so I can see who you train where and see who we can partner up with each other. That would be like amazing as well. No stress if not, but I'm just gonna put this in my diary before I get distracted.
I'll just send you the what you call it, the exchange rate also, like the pula. We use pula over here, Botswana pula versus the Singaporean dollar, just so you know exactly how I priced my packages, so you can have an idea of like what the pricing is like here.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll put it here.
That would be amazing.
And also, please do let me know what's the investment.
Yeah, sure.
To have you as my coach. Yeah.
For sure. And that was the other thing I was going to say. I want to know your goals. I want to know your goals in terms of hours spent working in the business versus on the business, and then your goals in terms of financial goals too, because then it's just maths. Then it's just real easy.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yay!
I'll do that. Thank you so much for the time, girl. I so appreciate you, truly.
I feel you. Look, I've been in a similar position before. Like, I get it. You've found a great tribe and they're really nice and lovely people, but your headspace, you've outgrown them and they've not grown to the same extent, the same degree. And you feel like, I bring a lot to the table. I kind of want to give you what I bring to the table, and they're just not receiving what you bring to the table because they're not in that growth mindset. They're just like, but I'm cool just being where I am. And you're like, but growth, we need to grow. We need to become better and faster and stronger and more self-aware. And you've evolved so much, and their rate of evolution and growth is not matched to yours. And that's okay. And they are where they are. Let's find a way that we can serve them in a way that doesn't feel as though it takes away from your energy. And let's find people we can serve who want to be served in that way. And that's going to fill your cup. And then we can leverage your time so that we group these people together and you can correct them and give them the weights and the reps and the weights, give them more autonomy too. And maybe even get to a point where we hire someone who can take over that group fitness, those small group classes. So they're still getting a lot of attention, but they can't all be talking to you at once, right? So that's the good thing. If they want to talk to each other, they can talk to each other. But if there's 3 of them and 1 of you, they're not all talking to you at the same time. They're going to have to like get on with this show. And again, if we can find a trainer who feels like a better fit for that environment and that demographic, even better, then we can remove you from that side of the business and just have you doing the high performance clients. And that may just free up half your day. If we have you with high performance clients at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., then you're working in the business. Then you can start to work on the business from like 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Then you can free up your evenings and maybe just have the occasional message or email with your assistant. And then like, that's a well-oiled machine, girlfriend. That is a freaking well-oiled machine. Then we can even start training other females on how to be trainers. Because if there's only 3 of you, you definitely need more than 3. I mean, the country needs more than 3 female trainers, right? So then we become the leader in female fitness in Botswana, then you are the authority.
Yeah,
We need you to be the authority figure. We need you to be the go-to. When people think of fitness for women, they need to think of you. How do we do that? Authority, credibility, getting people results, getting testimonials, and charging a price that reflects what you bring to the table, which is a lot. So
yeah,
that's exactly what we'll do. But I'll send you a list of questions. When you can, put that back to me. Then let's discuss tomorrow. I'm going to put together a game plan. I'm going to go through elements of the game plan tomorrow. Of course, we can only plan so much into the future. Part of us needs to take those action steps to see how the cards fall. But nonetheless, I'll go through the skeleton of what we can plan and see how that sits with you. And then we can talk and find the details about everything else. And if there's any concerns, you can raise that with me. Any questions, you can raise that with me. But we've got a good amount of time to talk tomorrow on my schedule. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So appreciate
My
it.
pleasure, Queen. And
you can take this. Yeah,
deep breaths. Look, let's just look at 1st of September. So you've got just 2 more months. We'll repackage, rebrand, reprice, and reposition. So you won't have to be in this situation for much longer. We're going to find more of the dream clients that you want, and the people you're currently serving, they'll get served in the way that they're currently being served. If they're not making the most of nutrition, let's not give them nutrition. If they're not checking in, don't give them check-ins. Save that for the people who really want to do it, and the people who are going to invest their time and with their wallets in doing that. And then we'll just continue to build the empire from there, because we're only getting started. That's just the tip of the iceberg for the vision I have. So yeah, it's gonna be mad.
Thank you for your time. I just need to get ready for work now, but I so appreciate you. Truly, you've really, really shown me the way forward. Like I said, I was just stuck. I'm just stuck. I saw your post and it called out to me, and I was like, you know what, I need to get in touch.
Aww.
And it's so I was just telling my husband last night, I was like, dude, we need to get home because I got a 5 a.m. appointment.
Girl, you gotta be up early.
I'm making not here, my friend. The girl needs to sleep to be early,
I love
so
it.
it's my life. I enjoy what I do, and I want to continue to grow within my business and my life. So I want to be able to do things that add value to my business, and people can feel that and see that and want to be a part of that. 100%. Because essentially personally, it's when you're in the personal training, yes, okay, fine, it's coaching, getting you from point A to point B, but it's a journey. I want you to want to enjoy that journey with me as much as I'm. I don't want you to feel like I'm imposing or it's very dictatorship style. No, it's a journey. Yeah. You can't not help but have them share their life story with you, because it took them to be a certain situation to have them where they are, and now they realize that I can't continue to be this person.
Yeah.
And that's where they reach out. But where you see yourself physically getting there is going to take a different level of you and action, ready to step into the acceptable space.
Yes.
We can walk the journey together, but you have to want it for yourself first, and then I ignite that fire within you and keep it driving to get you to where you see yourself.
Totally.
So I want to continue to do what I love to do for the longest time and do it better and not overwork myself. Be fully present, really focus on what needs focusing, and just filter out all this unnecessary noise that's consuming me.
And two, it starts to feel like a dictatorship. This is what I say to my clients all the time. I say, this doesn't work if it feels like a dictatorship. If it feels like I'm barking orders at you, saying eat this much protein, drink this much water, take in supplements, blah, 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 blah. It feels like a dictatorship. And when you're in a dictatorship situation, there's no real reciprocated respect, right? And then the opposite also doesn't work. If the client turns up super motivated, and if I were to always turn up late, or if I were to turn up and my hair's not brushed, if I were to turn up with no program, then they feel like I don't care. And then it's hard for them to get results because they don't feel supported. It's like, I'm here putting in the effort, but I need the knowledge of her. She's not bringing her knowledge and her skills to the table to help me to integrate this into my life. So it doesn't work when the difference between action and skill set is too big, right? It works much better when you're much closer to being on par, right? So when someone is coachable, and it just sounds like the people you're currently working with have been coachable up until a certain point, but they don't have that intrinsic hunger for more. They don't have intrinsic hunger for more progress. And again, that's cool. Maybe they're happy with where they've got to. You're like, who's to say they're dissatisfied? Unless they're telling you they're dissatisfied, we can't assume too much. Maybe they're actually really okay, again, to just spend that time with you and feel like they've ticked the box. But you want to work with someone who's more hungry, who wants more because you can bring a lot more, and you want to work with someone who sees that and appreciates that in you. So that's who we'll be attracting. We're going to start speaking to that a lot more. But yeah, I got you, go.
Yeah. But thank you so much once again. I can't say this enough because there's not enough support systems here. So I'm so glad that I found you on Instagram and connected. I've gotten to know you over the space of time. I've attended your lives, and like I said, I can connect with everything you say because I feel like the way I work with my clients aligns a lot with the values that you share as well. So yeah,
that's so great.
I'm looking forward to myself coming out of the shell because I like what I hear, and that's where I see myself and envision myself. And I couldn't see this before because I was so clogged, and I figured that, you know what, you need to be doing this for the next 10 years because everyone has to start somewhere. You need to hustle it out, sweat it out, and then you'll be fine after 10 years. But if there's a smarter way to do the same thing, then why not? You don't have to slog it through. If you can still work, but work on your terms. This is not the 90s, I fear. It's the technology.
You can 100%.
Yeah.
And then even like if we were to get you doing live events, then we can record that, or we can do live events online, and then we can start to send that to your social media audience. We can start to attract more and more high-paying clients from other countries, right? Maybe neighboring countries. And we can get you to not just be an authority figure in Botswana, but like Africa. Like we want you to be like a known authority figure in that part of the world. So there's definitely ways that we can start to leverage your time and work smarter and just as hard as what you're currently working, but to feel more fulfilled because you're getting a return on that energy. When you get a return on the energy, you don't mind putting that effort in because again, you get that back. So yeah, but I'll send you all those questions. I know you have to get ready, so I don't want to keep you, and just email all that info over to me when you can, and then we'll catch up tomorrow. I'll have a bit more of a structured game plan for tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Queen.
Such a pleasure.
Likewise.
I don't motivating, but it was so driving to speak to you. Like
I learned so much in the short space of time we spoke, and I love the way your mind works. I admire your intelligence. It's really nice, very refreshing.
I so appreciate you. I like not so secretly have a girl crush on you, so thank you.
It's okay. It's from you. It's cool. I have the same on you as well.
Okay, cool. It's reciprocal then.
Friday.
Yes, you too.
I'm going to now.
Yeah.
Hey.
I said enjoy Friday, and I can't wait to speak with you tomorrow. My pleasure, Queen.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm so supercharged for the day. Hey, so my 7 a.m. client, you better get ready because I'm going to squeeze her.
Who needs caffeine?
I'll be like, dream in. Yeah, no caffeine, just go in.
Yeah, just like hit the ground running. Coffee, no need. Flora.
I'm so pumped right now. I feel so good. I feel good.
Yeah, there's a way through. Just have 1st of September in mind. We'll work towards that date. We'll reverse engineer from there. So at least mentally you can have a little bit of like a little bit of an exhale, and everything else will fall into place. We'll make sure we've got everything we need in place to make sure it goes according to plan as we can, as smoothly as possible. And no one's going to be caught off guard. It's going to be a really smooth transition. Yeah, I mean, people typically don't like change, but that's okay. We'll give them this option and we'll give them that option. It's not like they're going to go anywhere else. If they've been with you for this long, and if they like you this much, they're not going to go anywhere else, right? So again, we're going to give them the opportunity to get more out of you by investing more with you, or now you can train with other people and have your community and have your shared experience and have your chit chat time. And I will just do my job in keeping your technique on point. And you'll have to have a little bit more autonomy because I'm not watching absolutely every single thing you do. I'm now watching 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. And if people want more, they'll invest more. What can I say? Yeah.
Coolio.
Yay!
All right then.
I will speak to you tomorrow.
Take care.
You too, Queen. And we'll speak tomorrow. I'll send you those questions in a second.
Yes. 6 a.m., right?
Let me work back. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yes. Because we're 6 hours ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Well
all righty.
See
you then. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Recording stop.
fire, listening with my morning coffee. First thing in the morning allows me to stay consistent in my habit. I make a point to show up for myself and get my daily dose of inspiration and focus, listening to the amazing audio and video voices while working out or in my car on the way. This helps me show up for others throughout the day by gaining clarity, energy, and focus in each area of my life. I feel like I'm a better friend, wife, and leader. I look forward to continuing to grow as part of the growth phase.
Traveling, you need seatbelts. This city bag from Grams 28. And this bag will be your new favorite travel companion. Jeans and pocket, iPad, glasses, cable, power bank, AirTag, and other travel. Get it back